Holy crap, that was one of the crunchiest intros we've had. That was unbelievable. Oh man. My PC, it's weird. I was recording some stuff the past few days, and my hard drive filled up. It's like a 2 terabyte hard drive, and it is the first time it's actually become completely stuffed with footage in years. I mean, I want to say at least half a decade. Like, it was almost a relief to see that the error, like, message in OBS worked the right way. I don't think it's filled up since I swapped to using OBS for all my recording. You know, back when I used to use Fraps, it did it all the time. Shadow Player did it all the time. There's another tool that I used to use, and I've actually forgotten its name. It was a weird thing that's somewhere in the middle there. Anyway, yeah, I need to desperately to get in and clean my hard drives, because I'm sure this has something to do with it. Anyway, hello everybody, welcome. I'm on my rev, apparently. I guess because this was the last character I was logged in on. Welcome to my last episode of the Godspawn patch coverage. This is not the last thing I will do full stop, though. I am planning on doing a video as well, which hopefully you'll see tomorrow or in the coming next couple of days, about the raid. So I did the most recent raid. That's why we're here at the Aerodrome. That's why we're here on my rev, which is the character I played it on. If you guys will remember, in the first half of this year, like basically all my hours in Guild Wars 2 this year have been in endgame PvE stuff. So in the first half of the year, I spent a long time playing Ceres. Ceres was lots and lots of fun. Did, you know, like the CM, and then the LM, and then the other CM, the Embodiment of Sin. You know, there was just a huge amount of playtime in that. That was basically all on this build. Then I stopped playing over the summer. We've obviously been doing a bunch of other stuff. Janthir Wilds came out. I've been doing Final Fantasy. And suddenly it's like, well, there's a raid release. And I sort of realised I don't really have any muscle memory or anything really set up on a bunch of other classes right now. So we made the group, and I kind of said, oh, I'll just flex in on anything we need. But I ended up just sticking about on this Condi Quick build. And Condi's not even necessarily that great in this release, because there's certain elements of like the interim fights and the bosses themselves where they spam resolution on themselves and reduce Condi damage. But yeah, so anyway, since the last episode, we spuds got together over the weekend. We did the raid. I got lots of thoughts. Overall, I would call it one of the weaker raid releases, to be honest. There's basically one decent boss in there as it currently stands. There are 3 encounters. One of them is pretty good, and a lot of fun. The other 2 are just weird. One of them you can graveyard rush because it has no timer on it, and the other one, you can just ignore nearly all the mechanics. The only mechanic you have to really pay any attention to is very, very, very simple. So a bit iffy, really, and a bit unfortunate that it kind of feels like this. To me, having played it, it feels like this patch had a strike mission. Glenn is in the wing, and there's a bit of lore, but like not much, nothing compared to a lot of the other wings. And it's funny, I'm satisfied enough as a player, but I hate seeing stuff like this because it really. Sometimes elements of the releases really makes it very obvious how stretched thin Arenanet is and how hard they're trying and how desperate they want to do things. But it's like, whoo, Jesus. Anyway, I'll have a full video about it. I'm going to do basically a casual commentary playthrough of the wing, and you guys can get my full thoughts on that. Anyway, I played it with some of you guys. To everyone who played with me, I was just talking in the live chat to one of you just now before I went live here. It was a lot of fun, and thanks for everyone who came, basically. So anyway, the plan today is I want to talk about the release with you all a little bit, talk about the raid. Shall we swap back onto lists? I guess we should. I got a lot of cool, big, juicy comments about, you know, like the lore and the story that we've experienced and some of your takes. At the end of the last episode, I specifically asked you all, hey, guys, how do you feel about this release? So I'm going to bounce off of you all there with those, and anyone in the live chat as well. I'd love to hear some more thoughts. And we're going to do the Convergence. So the Convergence starts at 6 o'clock. So for me, let's explain for posterity. It is currently Monday, the 25th of November. It's getting late November now. It's getting very dark. It's getting very dreary. It's been like unbelievable rain and windstorms in the UK over the weekend and Friday, like mental. But there's flood warnings and stuff going on. So yeah, a little bit miserable out, and anyway, it's already dark. It's 5:30 for me. In half an hour is the Janthir. It's the Janthir Wilds Convergence. The Secrets of the Obscure Convergence happened about 20 minutes ago. So I was wondering if they'd line them up, right? Whether they would do the 2 convergences back-to-back so that players can log in and do them back-to-back. That somehow seemed... That would have been my instinct. What Arenanet have done, though, is they've staggered them fairly apart from one another. So, you know, you don't get to do double convergences, but you are always not very far away from a convergence, let me put it that way. So yeah, and what I want to do before we go to that convergence, I'll be totally blind on that. I've never played it. I don't really know what's happening. Obviously, it's on Mount Balrior again. So we had Mount Balrior in the story. Then I've had Mount Balrior in the raid. We're going to get it in the convergence as well. And I think every single time, like, there's different context to it, different NPCs, different stuff. It's going to be weird. What I might do is, in fact, you know what, guys, as well? I'm on EU at the moment, because I'm still on EU from when I was raiding. If anybody... Let's do an orange tag here. If anybody wants to play with me, you are welcome to. Type /squad join lists. You can join on, and, you know, we can... Because obviously you can pop a private convergence anytime you like as well. I'm not suggesting we do that. We'll do it at the public time, but I'll just go in there with a squad if you guys like. So if anybody wants to play with me, you're more than welcome to. And, yeah, before we go in, what I also would like to do is start the legendary spear stuff. So I was recommended this, I think, on Discord, that if you start the legendary spear stuff now, you can, like, progress it during the convergence. And in fact, you could progress it during the raid as well. So, but obviously I hadn't started it. So I thought we'd just sort of flow into it. I'm not really sure where we go for that. So I guess we'll see. By the way, you know how I finish...
Here sometimes. Come, warm yourself by the forge.
Okay, later. You know how we finished the Secret of the Obscure Mastery finally for the Obsidian armor? I had a look at it. Look at this vendor. This is insane. So what do we need to craft Obsidian armor? There's a collection, which is like all the random components. So a ball of dark energy, mystic clovers, gift of condensed magic, gift of bloodbone, all this stuff, right? So a lot of it is common to other legendaries. But then there's all these here as well, these arcanums that you need. And a couple of, you know, some of the new gifts. I haven't done any of this. This is just so complicated. Look at it. Look at, well, okay, those are fairly common components. So you buy it, you don't craft it in the forge, you buy it off of him. And you need each... Look at all the tabs! It's great. This is the golden ticket, which gives you the golden title. So I think you need to make the Astral Ward stuff, which is distinct from some of the other cool wizardy big hat stuff. I mean, this actually looks pretty awesome. Does the final Obsidian helmet look like that? For light? I don't think it does, right? The crown? Yeah, it's small again. That's lame. Anyway, you got to get the Astral Ward, which has its own thing. And then the Onerous stuff? I don't know, man. This is nuts. And then there's like, there are recipes though. There's like, if you buy it from a vendor, it costs one thing. If you craft it, it's cheaper. I don't know. So that was last year's anyway, and I haven't played any of that. I was just looking at it. What I want to do is start the spear, this year's stuff. Already I'm getting, you know, I keep saying over and over that the mini X-Pack thing isn't actually bad for content quantity. Already I can feel myself getting swarmed under with, like, lots of shit to do. Think about it. Next year, there'll be a whole other wave of this stuff. Wait, why is Liss on Battle's Eve? Oh, yeah, because... hold on, let's not do it on Liss, because we played out Sylvari for this, didn't we, actually? The Packed Flower. So let's instead go on to the Packed Flower. Yeah, Liss is only up to the certain point in the story that we beat on the very first episode of the Godspawn coverage. So she's actually still got to finish it. And by the way, thank you so much for becoming a member there, Due. That's awesome. And Nightly Winder as well, as we were going live there, became a full member. That's amazing. So as I do more and more like members exclusive content, hopefully you'll be able to enjoy that and watch that. You did all 18 legendary armor, and you have a life. Are you being sarcastic there? Yeah, I don't know. Where do we start the spear thing? Oh yeah, and then there's the backpack as well. That's true. I like the idea of the spear matching like the Rotstalker armor, matching the like the backpack vibe. If that works out, I think that would be really, really cool. Oh, speaking of, I think I have a little bit more. No, 255 is still not enough, right? To make a purchase of one of the other pieces. Yeah, 375. Weekly has reset. I don't think it's Dragon Stand again this week though. No, salvage 50 items is pretty easy. Defeat elite. I mean, we'll get a lot of these dinged probably just in the Convergence, to be honest. What are the metas? More of Torment, events in the Desolation, or events in Crisis. Look at all the options they give you there. So they give you a choice of a meta, or events in an expansion, or events in core. The events in Crisis must be pretty quick. That'll probably feel a little bit like champ training back in the day. Good times, right, guys? When was your last Queensdale champ train? Oh, yeah. Evan Nashblade's birthday is also going on at the moment. So it's like Black Lion sales and stuff. I'm actually very excited. I bought myself a laptop this week. It was over half price. And I haven't had a laptop for ages now, as my old one broke in various ways. I had a Dell XPS, right? And I was really happy with it. It felt really fancy. It was really cool. I paid a lot of money for it back in like 2013 or something, 2014, a long time ago. And I had it. But it started just like breaking in terms of... First, one of the things that broke was the keyboard. The reason the keyboard broke... Now, this was pretty stupid of me. But I used to have a bath, okay, in a hot, steamy room, have a bath, and like put the laptop on the toilet, like so across the room. I wouldn't hold the laptop in the bath. I wouldn't be. Well, it wasn't that silly, but I'd have it in the room. I'd have it on the toilet, which is about eye level when you're laying down in the bath, right? So I'd look across, you know, I'd have podcasts and stuff on, or whatever. And but I guess the steamy room kind of messed with it, and the keyboard broke. So I had to use a USB keyboard. Basically, the buttons just wouldn't do anything. They'd light up and stuff, but they wouldn't do anything. So I had to use a USB keyboard, but whatever. That was the first thing that broke. Later, though, I guess the battery started swelling up, and I don't know why. And I stopped using it in the misty room after the keyboard broke for as well. But then I guess the battery started swelling up, and the battery was directly underneath the trackpad. So the trackpad started popping out of the laptop, like rising further and further out. Does that make sense? And I could like push it down and clip it back in kind of thing, but it was always... And it worked fine, but it was clearly like coming... And I didn't like this thing of the battery swelling. And the battery got worse and worse and worse, like draining charge quicker. So in the end, I just had the thing permanently plugged in. Then it had a problem where it just wouldn't power on unless it was plugged in. It had to be plugged in. It wouldn't hold its own charge. And I guess this was from the battery swelling or something, I don't know. But I had to have it plugged into the mains. So then that was fine. So then I basically just exclusively used it in bed where it could be plugged into my bedside table, right? So then that was how I used it for a long time. Then it's amazing listing all this out, actually. I didn't realize this was such a clown show, to be honest. Then, even though it was plugged in, the power cable was plugged into the laptop, it like wouldn't go in deep enough to form the connection or something. I don't know. I had such a weird issue with that. So I ended up opening it up, unscrewing it, and like I had to like reseat the little power extension thing on it. And that kind of worked for a while, but it was fiddly as all hell, and it would lose connection, which was annoying. Then, and this was really the straw that broke the camel's back, and you can see this camel was getting really weighed down. Just the lid. Just opening and closing the lid, it wouldn't open right. It was like coming apart at the back or something, and it was wonky, and it was just awful, man. So, and it still worked. I just had to use a USB keyboard and have it plugged in a very precise way and whatever. But you know, the thing was on its last legs, and it's been like that since like 2020, I think. So I've basically just lived like 2 years without a laptop, basically. And I finally bought a replacement because it was a good deal. I think I spent like £150 on it or something, but usually it would be like $599. So not bad. We'll see whether it works well. Anyway, why am I talking about my laptop so much? Oh, Black Friday. It's Black Friday in Guild Wars. I always remember, right, about a year ago, I started some Guild Wars project. I can't remember. And I dared to talk about real life for a little while. And, you know, I don't really talk about real life. I don't, you know... I keep things fairly separate. But I dared to talk about it for a little while, and I remember getting like a miserable person in the comments saying, oh, he talked so much about real life and not Guild Wars. And that's always stuck in my head now. Anyway, yeah, so to bring it back to Guild Wars for you guys who can't countenance anything else. I guess keys are on sale. You know, I haven't bought a Black Line key for how long? I don't know whether there's anything great. I don't even know how they're organising this at the moment. Are they doing like daily deals? Isn't that usually how they do it? Every year around Black Friday, there's like a big discount each day. Current promotions is on this stuff. None of it really looks that cheap. 30% off. Bag slots are always good. In fact, I just realized on lists that there's a whole bag slot. How long have we got? Oh, we've still got half an hour. That's good. Plenty of time to ramble. I realized I got a new bag slot on list that I could unlock the other day. I just filled it with a very old backpack, a soulbound backpack. And then I do, of course, also have this level 80 boost package, which, I don't know, I should double-click, probably, and free up another account slot. I don't know what I'll use in it. Oh, well, there we go. We pulled the trigger there. Like, look at this. I love that they give you mango pie for this. Mystic salvage kits are not bad. If I could just salvage this stuff straight out, it'd be very handy. Well, just lots of item deletion, isn't it, there? I guess I'll drink the celebration booster. I have all of these dyes, so I just need to delete the dye kit. The question is, what's the easiest one to delete that won't force me to type in a prompt? There you go. And then another dye pack, 7 random dyes. I shouldn't have done that. We can Mystic Forge those, can't we, though? Maybe? Is that a thing? Not sure. We also have some Renown Heart tokens. Should we just spend those here? I'm not really sure how my progress with this is going. Believe it or not, I have been very slowly and very steadily progressing the hearts on this map. Not so much the second map, but this one I feel like I've done quite a few times here. So let's see. Local Writ of Renown. 1. Let's hit the checkbox. Do you know what I find really annoying? There we go. Let's see. Oh! Oh, nice! That was the last one! There you go. Cool. Hey, and we get a gift for Club Yarn with that. Oh, we are progressing Club Yarn at this point. Oh my god, they won a lot of stuff here. Event collection, Southwest Janthir Century. Oh, there's a whole event I need to do that I've never done in Southwest Janthir. Protect the plant while Curious Remedies Therapeutic cleanses the rot. Okay. Wow, yeah, okay, so look, that's the first one of those that I've beaten. If we go to our achievements, Janthir Wilds, Renown Hearts. Here, yeah, Harvest Den, Renown Heart. So this one's on 11 out of 14, pretty close. This one's on 7 out of 10. Oh, well, no, I guess 14 total, so only halfway. And then the other map, you know, 6, 5, 4. I've got to do a lot more of these. I did, since the patch. Remember how the patch made this heart a lot easier in the patch notes? We talked about it. I did try it out, and I finished this so blindingly fast, it's unreal. You know, I always feel weird with this. Like, you'll spend ages over a patch, like, grinding on something that feels badly tuned. And you'll convince yourself that Arenanet did it on purpose, you know? They have, like, some grander plan, some bigger idea. But then the patch will come in rectifying it, and they so far hard swing the pendulum to the other side. It just makes... It's like, well, they're kind of frivolous about the balancing with this stuff in the first place. Why did I ever try to justify or grind it before? Yeah, there was, like, one event, and I just beat it. They did say in the patch notes, though, that doing this adventure progresses this heart, right? Isn't that what they said? So I'm kind of curious about that. I want to see how good that actually is. Maybe that was the whole idea always, and players were just fools for not having realized it.
Would you and your journeykin care to help us?
I think I'd be doing this here.
Run fast. Be safe.
Oh, we go over here. Like, is this progressing the heart? It doesn't seem to be. Unless, what is it? We're supposed to dash through the frogs to keep our endurance high, isn't that right? Obviously get the balls as well. Or maybe that mower. Oh, what I need to do is tune in on the Boots video. I realised I haven't watched anything from Boots for a little while, but I saw on his channel, he has a thing of his kid, 4 months old, doing the Mad King's Clock Tower. I haven't clicked it, but I have to say, the title of that video really got me quite interested. I think he has it in brackets as well written, not really. So, what is that exactly? He's playing, but he's holding the child's hand. Is that right? Oh god, wrong way. No, I didn't see it, the ball all the way over there. Oh my god. Well, we're doing okay with the checkpoints here. Yeah, this is absolutely 0 heart progress. Maybe when we finish it, we get a batch of heart progress? Integrating adventures with hearts seems like a smart idea to me. And indeed, they do that on the heart where you're sniffing as the Warclaw on the top left of this map, right? Oh, you do? Is that once per day, I wonder? Alright, oh god, I've got a plant in the way so I can actually see that. That's not bad then, actually. So you do get a little bit. And they basically made this easier. I haven't really been able to demo that to you guys here. All right, okay, seriously, how do we progress this legendary spear? Does anyone have any ideas if there's something I actually need to do to trigger this? It would probably be a good idea if I read chat. As an ex-laptop repairman, Dell laptops break a lot, but are easy to service. Oh, see, so there you go. See, I have been wondering, the kind of thing that's been on my mind this whole time is, could I just take it to a shop and get it repaired? What would be cheaper, repairing what I have or getting a new one? And I guess I've kind of, because it's been a long time, ever since the keyboard went out, ever since. I think I remember Googling it and people were saying, oh, it's probably totally fucked. There's not a fix you can do for yourself or something. But, you know, it's the cost of the repair and the components for the repair and stuff and whether you want to mess about with that. And I think I've just been in this kind of naive thing for years where I've been thinking to myself, technology's moving on, surely laptops will get cheaper. Laptops with better specs, you know, laptops with specs like this. At the end of the day, so that XPS I bought, I got like a nice one because I thought, oh, well, I want to keep my options open. Maybe I want to play on it, you know. Maybe I want to record Guild Wars 2 footage on it, stuff like that. And I can safely say now, having owned it for 10 years, no, I don't game on a laptop. I don't need to. Why would I need to? It was pointless, really. All I really need is something that feels fast and snappy and responsive for typing, you know, for word processing, for browsing the internet, for watching shit like Netflix. That's all I want. I don't want it to feel slow or stuttery or crap, and I want, you know, a reasonable image. That's it. I don't really have a very high bar, and so I've been thinking, you know, laptops capable of doing that must be coming down in price over the years. But, you know, maybe once per year I've sort of looked into buying another one and thought, I don't know. So I almost bought this one this year on a whim, but at least I'm finally out of that position. And this one, I promise, guys, this one I will never take into the bath. I'll never do it. So, sorry, go to the graveyard in the lowland shore. The NPC is north of it, looking out to the sea. The Mall Boneyards? Which graveyard are we talking about? Because isn't there, Pokey's mum has a grave somewhere, right? You're saying in the lowland, right? Yeah, this is the lowland shore. I'm sure there was a graveyard of some kind. Or just a single grave. One of these. It's not over there. Yes, the boneyards. Oh, okay. Alright. So I put a little waypoint there. What's the quickest way, I wonder? I kind of feel like waypointing here, riding along, and then if there's a bouncing... Nah, this way's probably quicker. Why not just use your phone to listen to stuff in the bath? Well, because it's not just listening, you know. If you're watching a podcast where everyone's got a camera on them, right, it's nice to be able to see it. And propping your phone up, I guess, yeah, you could get like a little phone stand, and you could prop that up on the toilet. Even with that, though, I'd be a little bit leery. I've got to replace my phone as well. My phone's pretty old at this point. At least 10 years old. But it's been in, like, perfect nick. It's been really, really... And I'm actually quite proud. Because, you know, a lot of people, they swap their phone yearly, right? Or every 2 years or something. But my phone's been brilliant. However, I have noticed it started being quite slow recently. I have noticed that the battery is pretty terrible now. And also, last summer, I dropped it on a hardwood floor. And it got, for the first time ever, and it got a tiny little crack. Okay, what basically happened was the phone case got a bit worn out and damaged. And I ended up sort of, you know, taking it off. And vaguely entertaining the idea of getting a new one. But I didn't. And then I dropped it on a hardwood floor. I, like, never drop it, but I dropped it. Basically, what it actually did was...
I don't know if this could ever reach you through the earth, but I miss you. I can't help but find myself wishing you were still here every now and then.
Basically,
I know you had to go protect yourself.
Yes. Okay.
You
She's probably got 1,000 other things she wants to say. So basically, I was at another place, and I was spending the night somewhere else. There was like a pull-out bed, and I laid down on the bed. It slipped out of my pocket as I was laying, and fell onto the floor. And a tiny little crack appeared. Right, that was like last summer, but the crack has just been growing and growing and growing now. So there's, you know, we've probably all known someone like this. You've probably been this person. You know, we all know someone who's got a cracked phone, right? I currently have a cracked phone. It still works and everything, but yeah, so I'm getting to that point. And the crack keeps growing. And at this point, because there's a crack in it, I definitely wouldn't want it in a misty room now. Alright, here we go. So here's the legendary components. Unending tribute. Well, he might have dialogue, so let's turn that back up. Wayfinder, could I ask your assistance? Of course, what do you need? I'm looking to rebuild our Spear of Legend, the Claw's Spear. Stoic Alder's Spear? No, our ancestral claw. The Bearkin, who led our people south, out of the Dragonstorm into safety. Ah, so Waiting Sorrow's original claw? Okay. Well, tell me more about this ancestral claw. The claw was a mighty leader to our ancestors. He saved us all, really, by leading our people out of the Dragonstorm to safety. It's kind of an Askir type character, right? But of the previous cycle, not this cycle. His name has been lost to time, but we still follow his ideals. Go on. He was the first claw of the Codan who chose to live a life absent of Coda. Wait, is that written correctly? He was the first claw of the Codan who chose to live a life absent Coda. I guess that kind of works. This was likely because his voice, a priestess of Coda, went missing prior to him leading the others south. Go on. He waited for her as long as he could, but his people were at risk. He knew she wasn't going to return, so he made the difficult choice. Though it served our people well, we've lived here since. You know, it's funny, Arenanet didn't name this guy. With Waiting Sorrow so majorly in the story now, and that revelation unfolded, you would have thought by the end of the first patch we would have had a bit of a conversation about her with regard to him, and we would have got his name, and we would have got backstory. As I mentioned in the last part, right, I'm currently playing Dragon Age Origins, and look, not to be a fanboy 10 years too late or whatever, but fucking hell, that game's so impressive. Like I have a member of my party right now who will just tell me shit tons of stories of, like, old lore and, like, things that happened, and everyone has names and stuff. It's like, you know, give me a story about this guy. Give me his name. I get the idea that it's like the ancient past and they want some things to remain obscure, I guess, or whatever. I'd also say it's a bit weird, you know. I'm in the honeymoon period with Dragon Age Origins, where I'm just really learning a lot about the universe and about the franchise. So there's, like, you know, there's a mountain of things for me to figure out. In this game, it's sort of, you know, 99% of it I've experienced before. It's kind of old hat or whatever. Anyway, thanks for sharing. How can I help honor this claw? I'm looking to reforge his spear as best I can, and now I know how it was made. So wait, why do you know now how it was made? Anything else? The spear should represent the claw and their 5 closest allies who stuck through thick and thin throughout the journey. Oh, it occurs to me we might actually get the names throughout this storyline, actually. Understood. How do I go about this? Oh, there we go. Go out and forage like a gatherer of the hunt. Explore uncovered grounds. Craft like embracing refuge. Hunt like the recollector of memories. And defeat powerful enemies like sharpened tip. Understood. Could I see what you have to offer? Okay, the gift of the Ursus. Did I do the Nashblade stuff in Lion's Arch? No, I didn't know that there was some. So the gift of the Ursus is 25 honeycomb, which doesn't seem like much considering I have 145 there. 25 curious Massart currency, some unusual coins, and some Ursus Obliges. So basically play a bunch more Janthir Wilds. Then we have amalgamated gemstones for the other ones. The recollection of the Bearkin hunts, the Bearkin victories, the Bearkin adversaries. Okay. I don't have to buy all this before I can prog the next thing, right? So I'm hoping now by triggering that, like, there's a thing where you get incremental progress. Here, this thing here, the shards. You know, it's like how when you're doing, once you unlock the Aurene collection, every event you do gives you like an essence of one of the dragons or one of the aspects or whatever. I think that's going on here. And you get a lot for the raid, and you get a lot for the convergence. The recollections are achievements for spear kills, raids, events, and stuff. You'll want to do them. You need to buy those 3 amalgamated gemstone items to get progress. Oh, okay. Oh my god, you guys have been really helpful here. Okay, so Amal is 75, right? So we'll pick up 7. Yeah, I know. You're all going to cringe, ready? I'm going to buy instantly. Wait, whoops. I typoed that. I said 74, not 75. Look at that. Buy instantly. I'm the devil. It's okay, guys. We can always make... Here's my view with this, right? I'm not very frugal in-game. And one of the reasons I'm not very frugal in-game is because, you know, if you run out of money, you've got motivation to keep playing, you know? Do that next tournament. It's funny that don't show this again dialogue is on there every time. Okay, there we go. Okay, complete world boss encounters or meta events. Complete convergences or raids. And complete... And just get kills with a spear. I see, okay. Do you know what? We could do this on my Rev, actually. My Rev has a spear on his build. And I'd like to be at least somewhat useful. I didn't really study up on exactly how to rotate as well. Oh, man, some of that raid footage you guys are going to see is going to be really, really ridiculous. Especially our Greer kill. It's just like running around dying and getting rallied and running around dying and getting rallied. Okay. I think you need to buy amalgamated gemstones to progress the prices now. Oh, did the prices jump up, did they? I was looking actually at the fractal currency, the integrated fractal matrices. They seem really expensive at the moment. I don't know whether that's like the price has spiked lately, but it seems to me that there's very good money in fractals at the moment. Such good money. And one of the reasons I think that might be happening is because a lot of people end up getting Fractal God and stop doing it. So the demand reduces, the supply reduces a little bit, but the demand is still there. I don't know that for sure, obviously. All right, well, cool. So we've got that started. It's weird to think, you know, all it takes is that little bit with Guild Wars. I get over the cusp, and all of a sudden I'm really into getting the legendaries, and, you know, I can imagine basically like ticking into it and just going for obsidian armor and the spear and the backpack all together. Think about it. With all of that, you could be fully kitted out in like modern X-Pack visuals at that point, right? Obsidian armor with this X-Pack's backpack with the spear or whatever. Amalgamated Price's sword. Meta events are now very good for farming. The public JW convergence in 10 minutes. Yes, it is indeed, yeah. There was something big I was about to talk to you guys all about, and I've completely dropped whatever it was. We can get a Serpent's Choice weapon there. Okay, well, cool. So we're all set now, right? Oh, we got a Wizard's Vault thing from that? Oh, completing a Renowned Heart. That's funny. We're all set for that now, I think. So let's swap over to Rev, I guess. And then I'll TP to a friend, to one of you guys, to actually get him to the Convergence entrance. Assuming this has absolutely no bearing at all on whether I've beaten the story or not to be able to participate. I'm pretty sure I won't have had to have beaten the story. Like, I can do the Secrets of the Obscure stuff on characters that haven't played it, just by virtue of getting to the Wizard's Tower. The new legendary uses 150 stabilizing matrices due to it using 2 times the cubes of stabilized dark energy. Oh, I see. Was obsidian armor 1 cube per piece? I assume it's probably something like that. Amalgamated gemstones are normally around 40 silver post-patch. They're around 1 gold to 20 silver. Really? They're usually around 40 silver? That's so cheap. That really shows me being very out of date with my meta event understanding, because to me, in my mind's eye, when I think the price of an amalgamated gemstone, I just think a gold. Because for years, that's what they were, right? After their introduction with Heart of Thorns, it was basically a gold. And one of the only redeeming things about doing POF meta events was getting the amalgamated. The fact that they dropped all the way to 40 silver is pretty crazy, actually. Kerry just messaged me in-game. She's not in chat. Oh, yeah, the other thing I was going to do was the Nash Blade stuff in Lion's Arch. Yeah, hold on. How long have we got here? We've got 9 minutes. That should be enough time, right? He's probably just going to say, hello, I have sales going on. And then that'll be about it. She said unsubscribe. Oh, shit, I saw this, actually. I saw Shaman tweet this. Guys, listen, I mentioned this whole thing about me going to Blue Sky. I have nothing to tweet about. I really have nothing to tweet about. I don't know what that says about me.
And those easily.
I mean, there are things, I don't know. Depends how random I'd want to be, but I keep going to it. I'm like, should I tweet? And I'm like, what do I want to say? Oh, that's a sign of not having much going on, isn't it, really? But yeah, Shaman tweeted this and just said, unsubscribe. Because he doesn't like all of these spam messages here. Black Lion Trading Company office. Black Lion Trading Company invites our loyal customers to join us in celebrating founder Evan Nashblade's birthday. We're throwing our vault doors wide open for a full week to shower you with fabulous prizes. By the way, why do we get spammed with that? It's very odd. Are dusty piles of old, unwanted materials cluttering up your new homestead? Our birthday manager is standing by at the Black Lion Vaults in Lion's Arch, ready to whisk them off your hands. In exchange, we're offering a selection of valuable Black Lion goods, hand-picked by Captain Nashblade himself. It's an opportunity you can't afford to miss, and it usually only comes once a year. Wow, there's a lot of people here. I've never seen it so busy here. Not even since the Skrit gang event. Okay, so what? Who's this? Hello, Commander. Here to celebrate Captain Nashblade's birthday with some special prizes. It's his birthday for a whole week, huh? I know you've got a nose for shady business, but it's harmless. Truth is, the company's running short of materials, and our artisans are on their last nerves. But you didn't hear that from me. Alright, let's see the prizes. Oh, shit, you can buy... Oh, I remember this. You can buy a guaranteed wardrobe unlock for a stack of claws. That is so worth it. You can buy a key for 50 vicious fangs. That's probably worth it. Oh my god, you can buy 3 keys for 150 vicious fangs. You can buy 5 statuettes. The booster is not worth it. The equipment template for 250 bones. That, oh my god, and just a oh, these are very worth it. Wow. Should I get these just to finish it off? And because I've got so many poison venom sacks. That looks like a green heart, doesn't it? I've never even noticed that. Alright. There we go. That is not bad, guys. What do we get? Ready? 3, 2, 1. These are always so fun, aren't they? It's like opening packs. I got Etherbound Helm. Cool. Yeah. And hold on, didn't they add a 7th template slot with Janthir Wilds? They did, didn't they? There's a number 7 now? Oh, what long have we got? We still got 6 minutes. I think I'm gonna put that on list. Jesus Christ, I just had to hit escape about 20 times. Let's swap back through here. Wait, was this another patch, another bug? Oh, the mail thing. Yeah, I have to say, another reason why I don't think the raid wing was that great. For the main reason, okay, the main reason is that there was only really one boss that felt appropriately made. Secondarily to that, it felt like there wasn't much else going on in terms of Glenna and side things to do. But the other thing that sort of brings it down a bit is it does seem a bit buggy. And it does seem a bit, it's very work in progress, you know, very placeholder in a way. Right, so let's open our bank. Template. Like, Liz has a slot, right? I'm pretty sure. Oh. Yeah, all the way over here, see? So we can unlock, and then... What the hell is the other one? There we go. I don't know what I'll put on these slots. Her 9th build. And her 9th equipment template. But we can find something, I'm sure. We can figure something out. Alright guys, listen, in 4 minutes the Convergence is up. If you want to join my squad so that we can all play together, if you want to do the Convergence with me, just in your chat box type /squad join lists. If you have a look at the live chat there, you can just copy paste that. That's literally all you have to do. And you'll be in. This is on Europe, by the way, because I forgot to swap back after raiding this weekend. And yeah, we can jump on in. You could have talked with Evan for conversation. Oh, could I? Well, hold on. We're back at the place now, so we can have a look. WP, do you still plan on doing a review of the Tomb Raider animated show? I'm not sure if you've seen it yet or not. Yeah, good question. basically, do you remember I did that channel update video? That was right before I realised I had to move on, and things have been quite hectic and stressful, to be honest, since then. But right before that, I had all these ideas. And what I wanted to try and do is juggle the FF streams with all those other ideas, which has proved to be very difficult. I just finished the first leg of the FF stuff and had absolutely no downtime and came straight back to Janthir Wilds here now. And now we're leaving Janthir Wilds, and in 2 days I'll be back to FF doing the 1.0 stuff. And then once the 1.0 stuff is done, finally I'll have a little bit of breathing room for a couple of days. And I'm going to see what I can do in that time, basically. Because I'm trying to juggle another Let's Play, a whole other Let's Play as this has been going on. And it's not been going that well. So yeah, like I wanted to do showcases on some of my Stellaris mods and the coding that I've done for them. And, you know, building the weather animations and stuff. I wanted to do the Tomb Raider thing there. So we will see. No, I haven't watched it. My girlfriend has watched it, and she didn't like it very much, and she wants to talk to me about it. But I haven't got very far with it. And by that, I mean, literally, I've not watched any of it yet. I have kept my eye on, like, the Tomb Raider community. But, you know, it's like Kerry said, that they all generally like it, but they're starved for anything, you know. If you take a fan base that is just starved for any kind of experience, then they're all gonna, you know, they're gonna stifle dissent about it. They're not gonna be particularly critical about it. So I don't know whether they can really be trusted that it was a good show or whatever. I would like to watch it. The thing is, as well, I've never done videos like that. And I think for people with face cams, media reviews are very easy, like video game TV reviews and film reviews, because they can just sit there and just film themselves and, you know, just have screenshots in the background. Because I don't do that on my channel, I don't know what the format would look like visually. I don't know what editing style I would go with. I don't know, you know, I don't know what would be a good, it would be totally new for me. So it's not a kind of thing that I can just throw out. I mean, I could just throw out a SoundCloud post, but I would like to make them full videos. So then there's a question of, like, there would be a whole thing where I'd sit down and say, well, what do I want the videos to look like? How do I want to edit them? How do I want to make them? Right? And I just have no idea. If you guys have any YouTubers that you watch that don't do face cam or live action filming, but they do reviews of TV, let me know, because I'd love to know what their format is, you know. So yeah, that's why I haven't just sort of bunged those out. I know it's not a very long series. The other thing was I was expecting them to do like one episode at a time. This episode this week, and then another episode the next week, or another episode, or maybe how Arcane did it with like 333. But they just did the whole series in like one day.
Like I like it.
So if they were going to stagger them out, I was thinking that's cool. I can review one a week. We can go through it together. We can be hyped together. We can speculate together. And, you know, it'll be a nice 8-week period where we constantly talk about it. And that would have been brilliant. And I really would have been very happy about that. And, you know, that's a bite-sized thing to do every week. But they just bunged the whole series out. So now I'm kind of like, well, what do I want to do? Do I want to review each episode individually? Probably not. So what? Am I just going to review the whole series in a single video? Blah, 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 blah. You know, and meanwhile, it's like, well, I want to focus really on FF at the moment. So, yeah, that's kind of what's been going on over October. All right, the Convergence is up. We've got to get back to the map. Okay, here we go. So back to the Lowland Shore. No, the item is recharging. Ugh. All right. That's why you just saw there in my shared inventory, I have the permanent one and I have the regular ones. I always prioritize the permanent one, but if it happens that I need to use them twice in a row, I'll use the regular one, which gets consumed, but hey, whatever. Okay, Convergence, Mount Balrior. Hello, Wayfinder. We're just waiting for Alder's story time. Quite the Ashmaker he is. My cub loves hearing it. But they're feeling ill, so I want to memorize it to recite it back to them at home. Story time? Stoic Alder's story time. He regularly tells the story of your epic journey up Mount Balrior to cubs throughout the den. You should listen in. Come warm yourself by the fire and I'll explain. I'm interested. The fire pit burns bright and Mount Balrior beckons. Do you wish to embrace the past and relive the events on the mountain through Stoic Alder's storytelling? Absolutely, yeah. Breeze Weaver, what should I expect from the story? Activity details. Stoic Alder tells the Lowland Cubs the story of your legendary journey to Mount Balrior. You can relive it by sitting fireside, but beware, he tweaks the story each time to keep the Cubs entertained. I love story time. What's my objective? Your objective is to survive the elements and gather calibrated essence for the Tectonic Thumper to lure out the legendary Titan, defeat it to close out Stoic Order's tail for the Cubs successfully. How do I do that? The magic surrounding Mount Balrior makes it a dangerous place to settle, so you'll need to escort a supply Dolyak to a safe space to set up base camp. From there, the Tectonic Thumper can be deployed. What is a Tectonic Thumper? I don't remember that from the story. The Thumper is a device constructed by Visha Foe-Raiser that slams against the ground to lure out a Titan. In order to function, it needs to be calibrated. How do we calibrate it? Calibration comes via calibrated essence, which can be extracted around the mountain by constructing and defending smaller calibration thumpers at these hotspots. This is where your Warclaw comes in. Oh, and we have a thing without any dialogue. To build a calibration thumper, you'll need to pull supplies from base camp to the construction sites. Your Warclaw's keen sense of smell will help you to find where to take them. Okay, then what? So we use the sniff mechanic. Calibration thumpers eject calibrated essence to collect and return to the Tectonic Thumper, increasing its overall calibration. Titan Spawn will fight back, so be ready to defend all of the thumpers. And when we collect enough essence to calibrate the Tectonic Thumper, oh god, this is dry, isn't it? This is like a bullet point summary of the mission, that you'd expect them to send to each other internally. Collect and deposit enough calibrated essence and the Titan will be lured out. Destroy it and allow Stoic Order to end the tale with a grand finish to entertain the Cubs. Sounds fun. Anything else to keep in mind? Stoic Order changes the story to keep the Cubs' interest peaked. There are constants: collecting essence, defending the various thumpers from attackers, and frozen soil's impact on the mountain. Frozen soil. So we can't res? Wait, what's frozen soil? Frozen soil is a nature ritual. Oh my god, it really is. Guild Wars 1 players will know all about this. Affecting Mount Balrior that prevents the use of traditional resurrection magic. That's cool. Bearkin can dispel it by siphoning items from some of the calibrated essence that you collect. What else? Stoic Orders tweaks the story, which will keep you on your toes. Weather for one, but also sappers and reinforcement squads. There's also an entire interior of the mountain to deal with. Weather? What kind of weather? Ah yes, one of Alder's favourites for his stories. He's especially fond of coating his tales in snow, but expect a lot more than that. What else? Stoic Orders tweaks to the stories will keep you on your toes. Okay, what do you mean about sappers and reinforcement squads? You don't think the Titan spawn wouldn't push back, did you? That'd make for an uninteresting antagonist. Sappers steal essence from the Tectonic Thumper, and reinforcements come to take over base camp. What else? Interior? Of course, Mount Balrior has an extensive cave system, and Orders one to utilize the full canvas for his tails. Your Warclaw is especially useful for gaining access to pulling down roadblocks. Anything else? One of my favourite parts is Stoic Order's take on the mountain geysers. They'll launch you sky high. Combine that with the Cubs' reaction to the twists and turns, and everyone has a grand time. Alright, there you go. Let's give it a shot. The fire pit burns bright and Mount Balrior beckons. Do you wish to embrace the past? There's something so clunky about how much dialogue that is there, and you only get 10 minutes to get in. Alright, join with a public group. Let's do it. So just hit the public group, guys, join in, right-click my character name, and join on my specific instance. This might have already started, because we're late as hell, because we just read all of that. Oh, look, Frozen Soil. An ancient ritual disrupts the flow of resurrection magic. When you're defeated, you become a roaming wisp and cannot be revived using normal means. Oh, so this is just like last year's Convergence. You die and there's a res mechanic. Collect and return calibrated essence once you've established a base camp to channel a momentary interruption of the effect, allowing players to be resurrected. Nice! So it's just like with the Zodja thing. Okay. Yeah, so I'm completely blind on this. I have no idea what it's like. What I will say is in the raid is really weird, where there's a huge amount that you can explore. Oh, inside the mountain, but you don't have to.
With deceptively humble beginnings. The Wayfinder happened upon a quaint supply caravan at the foot of the mountain.
Supply caravan? Ugh, boring.
Oh, right, great. This is cool.
Yeah, when do we get to the exciting part?
I like this.
All in good time, young ones. distant memory, was glad to have the Wayfinder's assistance. I am glad to have your assistance, Wayfinder.
Oh, cool. He's like a
with
DM,
that,
and we see it.
They began their trek into the mountains to deliver their precious cargo.
I'm gonna have to get the sound volumes just right here, so we hear the dialogue.
An ambush.
Oh, okay. I like the idea of the kids being really snarky and critical.
Frozen in fear, Titan spawn swarmed the caravan. Whatever was being transported, they did not want it reaching the mountain. Should be all of them, and it should. Let us be on our way.
It occurs to me I might not have a moment to talk. I don't know. I don't know how much he's going to speak, and as he does as we go along. But yeah, I like this thing where we get to see the kids speaking, and like we get to hear their take on it a little bit. It's weird because I feel like this is going to be very little like the actual story.
Annoying. They should learn when to quit.
Oh, it's very cute, isn't it? I'll tell you, I'm playing a good build for just standing around listening to the music, because I'll just be pulsing boons on people as I do so. I don't really have to put much effort in. I'm going to linger on Spear here instead of Mace Axe, which, by the way, I do actually have on my build. I was quite happy to see these.
Now clear, the Dolyak was free to continue up the trail.
I was happy to see that. When I was doing Ceres, a big balance patch came in, and, you know, when Spear came out, basically. And,
Thanks to the Wayfinder's efforts, the caravan reached its destination.
and the build became Spear, which was just awful. There's no finesse to it. It was really rubbish. But people have discovered Mace Axe still does have a place, which I'm really happy with.
But do not be so quick to celebrate, small cubs, for the real challenge had only just begun. The caravan was transporting parts for a very important device, a tectonic thumper.
What does tectonic mean, Stoic Alder?
Well, you see...
He doesn't know.
Irrelevant. Just know that this device was an essential tool in the Wayfinder's triumph over the Titan.
I like that. He doesn't know. That's cool. I'm enjoying the dialogue in here so far. Can I just say, earlier while we were reading all that stuff, Ryan Guernsey, dude, gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, Ryan. That's really nice of you. Sorry, I didn't get to see that or read that until just now,
As
really.
our intrepid
Thank you,
band
man.
of heroes set up camp, an Astral Ward lieutenant approached the Wayfinder. Her name was Visha Foeraiser, and she was the inventor of the tectonic thumper.
Okay. It's weird that he's got this whole tectonic thumper thing here when it had nothing to do with the original story step, right?
You there! Stop dawdling and make yourself useful!
She was rather rude.
This thumper may be up and running, but it requires calibrated magic to work optimally. Go sniff out a few suitable spots to build some calibration thumpers with that journeykin of yours.
That is one weird-looking
Take
charm.
the necessary supplies from the Dolyak.
Right? It's not just me. That's a really weird-looking charm. It doesn't even look like the same species. It looks like Sid from Ice Age or something.
Titan spawn surged in to attack camp. The central thumper was in danger.
Okay, utilize the Warclaw's sense of smell to reveal locations to build calibration thumpers at. Oh, people are carrying the stuff, like in EOD. Okay, what have we got on the map? Oh my god, oh my god, we're split all over the place. Okay, so this is a lot like the last year's Convergence. We have a central area that you want to defend. The Thumper is basically Zodja, right? Like that's what's happening here. The Thumper is Zodja, and every now and then it will break frozen soil and we can res people. Meanwhile, we have, like, these are all the spots that the bosses are, sort of. But what have we got? We've got damaged thumpers? More thumpers? No, I've never even been over there. Even in the raid, I never went over there. So I want to go to that section. Let's see if we can make it. I appreciate some people need to stay behind and smell. Oh, can we go this way? Yeah, so in the story, we go along here, right? I'll show you guys what it's like to go through the mountain. Now, one of the things that's really interesting about the raid, and you'll see me talk about in that video, is all the trash mobs in the raid are really deadly. Like, way tougher trash mobs than I've experienced in any other wing. Especially one right before Decima.
Patrol the mountain diligently.
They're not so tough. The Wayfinder can handle that.
Okay.
On their own, perhaps, yes. But if allowed to grow in number, they could overwhelm the camp.
Oh, I love this slope.
Very troublesome.
Okay. So that's where we fight Decima, over there. A lot more of it's available for exploration, eh? It's funny. This is pretty good. You know, this whole thing of, like, is this map a substitute for a regular map? Well, it kind of feels that way to me a little bit. There we go. The Northern Landing Thumper. So what do I actually do here? We're building it, right? And we're building it by bringing supplies to it. Bring supply from base camp to construct this. By the way, we have 50 heroes alive. Nobody's died, so that's good. Etheric Adrenaline. For every 10 stacks of calibrated essence you are carrying, your Warclaw receives a 10% speed boost. Maximum of 50%. Wait, how do I get that, though? For every 10 stacks of calibrated essence.
Was frigid. Ice and snow buffeted the Wayfinder relentlessly. But still, they fought on.
Oh shit, there's lava in here? This is cool. Wait, what's up there as well? Wait, did he just say that there's a snowstorm outside? So has the whole weather of the place changed? Let's go have a look. So basically, the more supply I carry, it will increase my synchronization. And it will move me faster. So you essentially just start sprinting around the mountain. Oh, here we go. Here's some supplies. Attach supplies. Supplies attached. Brings the supplies to any calibrated thumper site to help construct or repair it. This can also be taken to the thumper. Okay, so I've slowed down here because... Okay, and the Titans are actually attacking the supply crate. That's quite interesting. See, that alone, that's already a really cool mechanic. Couldn't this been in the raid? Imagine a raid fight where you have to, like, carry the... Someone has to carry the supplies around like that. Here we go. And everyone else has to defend it. Okay, so now Titan spawner... Oh, God, I've got to get all my buttons up. Oh, and I'm already desynced with weapon set and legend. Oh, the worst thing about this build, right, is if you don't get the initial quickness on, it slows down shit like the activation of getting into Malix, which can mean you end up cancel casting it and then have even less quickness. It's really annoying. That's what just happened there, basically. Son of a bitch. Just slap me away. Calibration Thumper has been fully attuned. It will continue creating... Ow! Son of a bitch! Oh my god. Thank you very much for that. Timely res. Okay, so what are the little orbs this time? Do they lower my max HP like they did last year? Oh no, these are the things that give me the speed boost. But there's not like a downside to them. You know what's quite interesting as well? Last year, the Masteries interacted really heavily with some of those, like, convergence mechanics, right? None of the Masteries do this year, do they? Oh my god, I can already feel the Warclaws pretty quick here. I only have one stack. The weather's going to be different every run. Oh, okay. So it's snowy for me right now, but sometimes is it stormy? Okay, let's grab more supplies. We still want to go to the northernmost place.
The Central Thumper's readings.
Oh no! The monsters are attacking the camp!
Something was
Stop them,
clearly
Wayfinder!
stealing magic from it. But what? The Wayfinder's journeykin anxiously sniffed about. Perhaps it sensed something.
Okay, oh my god, there's such a bomb of things to read here. The calibration thump has been successfully attuned. It will continue creating calibrated essence.
Settling eerie fog rolled in. The heroes' teamwork was bearing fruit. They were nearly ready to draw out the wicked Titan.
Can I just... will the supply mess up if I go really weird with it? So how does this lure out the Titan? Oh shit, okay, it does break. Due to overstretching. I remember that actually from EOD. That was a mechanic even there, right? Pick it back up. Oh, I wasn't the only one. Someone else as well. Yeah, it got caught on this ridge. It looks like there is a place I can deposit near here, though. What is that? That beam of light, maybe? So, when I grabbed the little orbs, is that what was charging, like, the progress bar above my head? Right? Can we... This doesn't seem right. This is so not right. Oh god, it's stretching a little bit. No, we're still good. Oh my god, I think I just heard a Titan. Okay, this is clearly in the mountains somewhere. Okay, and that's clearly... We're not meant to be up there. We're taking damage. How do I get into the mountain? Come on, supply. Don't break. Don't break. This is quite cool. Oh god, we're just... This isn't right. We're on the peak. We shouldn't have come up this way. The beams of light made me think that there was a straight shot to it, though. I guess the beams of light are just going through the solid rock.
The ground shook under the full force of the tectonic thumper.
Oh,
the
shit.
mighty machine rattled the mountain's very core.
It's funny, doing this in the story and the raid, I got no sense of lava, but here we are.
The Titan at last angrily surfaced. Her name was Decima, and she was most displeased.
Okay, we're fighting.
Who will regret this disruption, small things? She bellowed from atop the mountain.
Go get her, Wayfinder!
Holy shit, what the hell is going on? What is going on? I'm getting like vacuumed into these. So where we're fighting her is where you fight Ura at the end of the, Still on the wrong weapon set. This is where you fight Ura at the end of the raid.
First.
As the Wayfinder reached the top of the mountain, a ghostly image of distant memory appeared.
Blades to me.
Through a focused mind, he channeled his energies, forming a link between the mountaintop and the camp.
Whoa! Distant memory is so strong.
That he was, young cub.
Fight me!
Holy shit, that hurts. We definitely don't want to face tank that. We should, no alacrity. This feels really weird. Right, that's an obvious dodge, that one. You hear that screaming sound? Is that, so that plays constantly when you're fighting her in the raid? Do you guys recognize that from Halloween? We were talking... Oh my god, what the fuck killed me? I just got one shot. By what, though? That's going to throw this in a weird way. How the hell do I spend all this energy? It's too much. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know really how this is different. So basically, in the raid, these green things come in and power her up. If she gets 10, she just wipes you. And you don't want any greens really to get in the raid. You walk into them and it like DPS's the green. The more people that are in it, the faster it dies. I assume it's basically the same here. Also, she does that. That's like a giant knockback, which knocks you into the lightning rules at the back if you mess it up. It's a really easy dodge, though. I don't often say that, but that one is a very easy dodge.
That she did, but the Wayfinder was hot on her trail.
Oh.
With the help of their faithful journeykin, they sniffed out the direction she fled and gave chase.
So she oh, does she go to each of the 3 arenas then? So wait, how does this work? Do we fight all 3 of them in the Convergence or only one? And how does this work as far as co-op stuff's concerned? Etheric jump, distant memory channeled to power, allow me to teleport near the Titan's location. Oh shit, with no loading screen as well. Oh, there's a big thing going on at the moment, by the way. There's an ARC add-on which like helps you skip loading screens, and it's getting like rave reviews. So now, is she doing her other animations?
Out of my way!
It's a little bit awkward there, but it's okay. Let's see what she does now. There's the big dodge again. I feel like her model is way bigger here than in the raid, but I might be wrong. So in the raid, that red line is like a one-shot. And you've got to like hide behind a conduit to survive it. I think, right? But it will charge the conduit up, and then the conduit will start like leaking green energy orbs into the middle. And what people do with it is they have like a kiter. And the kiter is like
Fight me!
responsible for like charging the right ones, and this right now seems quite similar to the raid, just with a lot of people. And then you get all these AoEs and you can mostly ignore them, which I know seems really weird, but it's totally the thing. Except this time she's dropping these collectibles. I don't know what's going on with these. I don't know what she was doing there either. Oh shit, I was mace locked there. Thank you for the stability. I guess I'll just keep picking them up. Maybe they're for just continually breaking the frozen soil, even in the middle of the fight. I'm beginning to think that Greer is not here, and Ura is not here. Is it like random which boss you get based on the Convergence? Oh, it must be, right? Like last year there were a bunch of different bosses. This, I have to say, this is much more elaborate than the Secrets of the Obscure one. Like, much more elaborate. Alright, she's leaving again.
Dumb Titan!
Like, I bet you can load in and it's like a Greer fight the whole time, right? So, do I hand my orbs in over here? To the distant memory? I'll tell you, not only does this feel more elaborate, it feels quicker. Maybe that's just because I've had so much to talk about and focus on this first time through. Like maybe that supply escort thing at the beginning is longer than I'm imagining it right now. But you know, last year's Convergences felt very tedious. Wow, guys, that's crazy. I feel like I don't even need to play that mechanic because I can just hit the special action. People will have done it for me. Oh, these openers are just awful, awful, awful. Whatever. Whatever gets me in the rhythm nice and quick. I feel like I need to put the Relic of Rivers on this when we're in the open world, so that my dodges give me alacrity and I don't have to rely on it from anyone else. There, I'm not even given good quickness. This is all fucked.
Die!
So is she changing? Is it? Oh, this time she has the orange arrows. So in the raid, those go on like. Basically, she has like an electric field at her feet, and the people who stand out of the field can bait those. And you can just like stand at range and slightly spread. This is kind of a cool fight because you have basically a melee group and a ranged group, and I've always wanted to see that in this game. I've always wanted like, you know, a good reason to have like fun range damage builds. It's a bit of a non-puzzle at this point because of, you know, the prominence of Virtuoso, but you know.
Fail.
You will always fail! She sounds ridiculous. Very Saturday morning cartoon kind of villain voice on her. Oh, fuck, why? The red fucking turn, I swear that just swung onto me. I looked at that, I was like, no, that's to my left, that's fine, and then it just turned onto me. And it nuked me. Not happy.
Fight me!
Let's get back to this. Question is, so in the raid as well, after she does that knockback, you're supposed to hit one of the lightning walls and then get bounced back into her, and she does like a one-shot, like instant defeat if you're in her hitbox at that point. And I'm wondering if there's a similar thing is happening here. Like I can see all those pickups on the floor in the middle, but I'm scared to actually go grab them.
The Titan fled once more.
Okay, so let's start sniffing one final time. It's over here. What's going on with this orb? Okay, Titan stench. Is there a bar we're filling? Yeah, Titan stench gathered, this lower one. We're also dispelling frozen soil. I love this thing about nature rituals with Titans. That feels very sort of on theme, you know? Like one nature ritual that covers a whole mountain. I always wanted with Guild Wars 1 balance, and I would advocate for it for the 20th anniversary this coming April, right? Nature rituals in PvE with much bigger range, because they're kind of really annoying at the moment with heroes, where you place it but then you run out of its effective area too quickly, and the cast time is so long. And what a lot of players say is, oh, make the cast time shorter, but you know, these skills lose their identity if you do stuff like that. I say keep the really long cast time of the nature ritual, but have the radius, like double or even triple the radius. And yeah, I know what I'm saying when I say that. Doubling or tripling the radius is going to be ridiculous. But I really do mean that. So you can place it, and you can do like 3 or 4 different battles against other patrols far away, and still be under its effect. I think that'd be really interesting for enemy design as well, you know? Like when you're in the Echoed Forest and you've got brambles and shit everywhere. Or like zones with quickening Zephyr around. Oh, they should just release mod tools for Guild Wars 1, please. Please, SCW, I'm begging you. That'd be so epic. I'd love to make custom campaigns in Guild Wars 1. Or do my own skill balance. Yeah, I don't know. She doesn't seem to have too much going on, actually. I wonder if Ura and Greer would be more interesting. Oh, maybe they haven't released the other Titans yet. Because, hold on, last year's they slowly released more? Oh, we just got a damage modifier there. I really delayed that dodge, but it all worked out. They very slowly added new demons. Do you know what would be kind of interesting if they continued adding demons? Even now?
Brave small things.
Small things. This is so chill with no alacrity, really. There's like these huge periods where I can just relax and auto because the buttons aren't up anyway. Well, here we go. I don't actually know what that sound effect aligns with in terms of her abilities. It just screams away back there. Solo convergences are shit, let them die. Oh, Soto, sorry, Soto convergences. You might end up feeling the same way about this, you know, it just depends how much you grind it. I was always okay with the Secret of the Obscure convergence, really. I like a bit of grind content.
And effort, the Titan writhed about and roared in pain. She was defeated. The Wayfinder was victorious.
These cubs, man.
Yay!
Okay, so did I get legendary progress from that? We got a shit ton of stuff. Didn't it just give me 5 gold straight up?
The Wayfinder sure is strong.
Oh, do we have...
Indeed, they are a mighty warrior.
Oh,
one that I'm honored to have fought alongside.
That's good,
But
yeah,
it was
stroke
not
my
their
ego.
strength alone that won the day. It was everyone's. The Codan people, the Astral Ward. All of us putting aside our differences and fighting the insurmountable as one. When we all work together, the mountains shake and titans fall.
Oh my god, we got just thrown out in the middle of the dialogue. That's unreal. There was so much dialogue there that was interrupting itself as players were progressing and stuff. I have to say, all that dialogue was kind of... Ugh. This is like... I need a term to describe this, right? It's like filler dialogue. You know, my review... you guys might have heard me review the second Guild Wars novel before. But my general take of it is that it's not great because it's a novel. You're looking at it for some, engagement with the universe. You want interesting lore details. You want, some slice of life of how these people live. You want to feel like you're there, You want interesting setting. But the book was very boring to me, and I personally didn't like the book because it spent its entire time, almost, it felt like, on, action set pieces. It was very, very little of it was about Tyria or a love for Tyria. It was just, and now there's this fight. Okay, so here's a whole chapter just describing this fight. It's like it wanted to be a comic book, right? But you get none of the entertainment of a visual medium. It was just like, I can read generic fantasy battles in any book anywhere. I want to read about Guild Wars. I want to read about Tyria, right? And so that's sort of my review of the second novel. And to a certain extent, I feel like in-game, a lot of dynamic events, when we look at a dynamic event as a replacement for a traditional quest... we can say that, both give you a story in the world, both give you a quest and objective. But where traditional quests are usually a lot better than dynamic events is, yes, dynamic events can have dialogue, but a lot of it's just like filler action dialogue. It's like the book, Edge of Destiny, right? It's like you don't really get that much out of escorting a packed Dolliac along a supply line in ore, right? You don't really get anything. You don't get kind of small life moments. You don't really get much lore. You don't really get much analysis or anything. There's nothing really to dig into. It's just generic dialogue of, oh my god, another patrol? Oh, we did awesome. You're the best for beating that patrol. Here comes another one. Oh my god, that looks dangerous. Wow, I thought we were a goner there. Next patrol. It's just shit like that, right? Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And so dynamic events lose out a little bit there over traditional quests. And I feel this way about Mount Balrior here as well. Look at all the voice acting there is here. Look at everything that they wrote. But it's all nothing. It's all just... there's a little with the cubs that's kind of cute, I guess. And again, it feels lighthearted and cute. And maybe that's fine with repeatable, farmable endgame stuff. Because you can't be grim and serious the whole time. A bit levity, but that's fine. But I don't know, you're giving me a whole convergence, a whole thing exploring the mountain. I didn't really get anything there. I just got, then there was a Titan. And then we fought the Titan. And then we beat the Titan and it ran away. And we sniffed out the next one. And, we just looped that 5 times. That might be the gameplay, but I'm a little bit disappointed. I always just view this as, wasted opportunity. Just as I view the second novel as a wasted opportunity. So, yeah, that's kind of my immediate take there. It's kind of cute, though. It's no worse than last year's, and, and again, I wouldn't... Maybe none of this criticism feels valid, but at the same time, I feel like the story patches need as much as possible, and we didn't even get, those side lore books and stuff. But yeah, that to me just kind of felt like the Decima fight at a 50-man scale. The rewards were mental, but, what just happened? Yeah, I bought 3 wardrobe unlocked it. 2, I guess? What do we get this time? The Vermilion Van Braces and the Ghost of the Deep Spaulders. Brilliant. Hey, thank you very much for the donation there, Secube. Thank you very, very, very much. Banjo says they need to hide lore books around. Well, yeah, I mean, that's one solution. But on the other hand, I would like even, I see this, all this text here that's in green. This was an opportunity, and I think it was somewhat squandered, Obviously, you got a problem, though, which is well, how can you get small life details and observations about the world when dynamic events are almost by their nature going to be action oriented? They're going to be people fighting, and there's only a sort of a limited hemisphere of things that you can talk about within that. Maybe. But even then, if you imagine an escort, all the phases between the fights could be where they're giving us the most interesting stuff. And I think there are good examples of that already in Guild Wars, particularly the Malchior event over at the Temple of Dwayne. You get a lot of really good stuff out of that, right? Same thing. It's just another action dynamic event, but we get so much rich world building out of this as you explore the Drowned Brine, as you come up back to the Cathedral of Zephyrs. It's fantastic, right? So it can be done. It's just a question of what do we want to talk about the setting, you know? But yeah, okay, let me read chat here. I want to know, so do all the Titans appear, or is it just Decima for now? Yeah, and this is weird. Costage saying the oddity is how Stoic knows about Visha. Visha hasn't appeared in the Janthir Wild story yet. Hold on, is that an actual Char NPC from somewhere else in the game? Yeah, that seems really strange that there's like this whole extra character in the Convergence that is also a female Char. Why isn't it just Baleseeker again, right? Couldn't it have been Farah Baleseeker in both? Feels weird that we have another separate Char here. Only seen Decima so far. Okay. Vaisha was in the game, suggested to work directly for Bangar while the Scar dudes were packed. People say it's on rotation. Greer maybe will be next week. Oh, that's a thought. But hold on, we have already passed weekly. Oh, speaking of weekly, look at this. Here we go. Oh, shit. Look, bonus, celebrate Evan Nashbade's party. We did, apparently. We completed the Mount Balrior Convergence. We defeated a legendary rank enemy. We did 4 out of the 10 events. I'm sure I could have tagged a lot more if I'd been a bit more careful about that. We progressed a little bit more of our daily. But hey, here we go. So, the Rotstalker coat. And we can grab that and put that on list, actually, I think, now. Oh, we get another mail here. Oh, God, it's all the birthday. Oh, wait, are we going to get spam that every time we move around here? Speaking of which, by the way, I wanted to go speak to Evan again, because didn't we miss some dialogue with him? Because we ran out of time, basically. Weekly would be tomorrow. Well, it would be a week since the patch, but weekly reset has already happened, right? I know that this patch hasn't been out for a week yet, but... Grin and Decima are probably rotating. And then Ura later, maybe then, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. That was lots of fun, by the way. To those of you who came in-game and played that with me, that was awesome. Thank you for joining. Okay, let me see here. So, I'm going to go to... the Black Lion Trading Company again. And let's see what Evan himself says about the supply issue. AWP, do you know it's Evan Nashblade's birthday? I do indeed, yes. Okay, Vaisha Foe-Razor was the Char who dealt with the branded Thumpers in Grothmar. I see, so you got the Thumpers there, and now we have the Tectonic Thumper here in this thing as well. So she was picked for the similarities there. Dude, I don't remember this room looking like this, with the amazing glass ceiling and stuff. I remember it being much more closed, the entrance. Was it always this open plan? Have they changed? They haven't changed this, right? There's no way. It's funny to think, by the way, you can just mount up and walk around on these balconies up here now. And have been able to for years, but this is a very cozy, weird little area of LA, isn't it? Just looking down on all the players below. Makes me feel like, you know, in Living World Season 2, there was that mysterious stranger looking on, possibly E, on the edge. It's like us there. Oh, they did change it. They've opened it up. Oh, okay. It has been changed. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, they took down the front wall. And it was mentioned in a blog. I see. Hey, I'm happy with that. I'm glad I noticed that then, that the level geometry had changed. That's cool that they could do that. I thought that it was prohibitively difficult for them to mess with, you know, map assets and stuff like this. Like if you like did Guild Wars data mining, the .dats would be very, very different based on what you know, they had like multiple copies of different versions of maps, and I felt like that's why they kind of eased off of it after a while after Living World Season 1. Or anyway, where is Evan? Evan's usually like in one of these corners, isn't he? Well, he's not there. That's an equipment researcher. Oh, he's just here at the front desk. Hello, Evan. Yeah, what do you want? I noticed your birthday sales. He's got 0 customer service, right? I've survived another year of growing older, wiser, and richer. And I'm celebrating with a staggering discounts on Blackline goods. Don't miss out. So, when's the big day? Did Sareb tell you to ask? I told him surprise parties make me nervous. Every day is my birthday when we're slashing prices. Let's just leave it at that. Happy early, belated, or immediate birthday. Okay, that's great. Where's Ellen? Does Ellen Keel have any dialogue? It's weird as well. Like, how long has this been closed, right? A long time. Well, hold on. Can we still go in there? I guess not. No. I don't know when they closed this, but for those of you guys that don't know, when one of the main focuses for the Blackline store in this game was the weapon sets, you used to be able to go in that room, and then there's a chamber on the right as well, and then a chamber behind that, and then another chamber, and each had a bunch of these pedestals like we get here now. And every patch, Arenanet would change the Blackline weapons that were on the pedestals. I guess this one has the mini on it, which is the Jade Bot skin, which is kind of awesome. Oh, and this guy's previewing a mount as well. I didn't even realize this. What the fuck? Or a chair, maybe? The helicopter. That's got to be a chair, right? The helicopter chair. It's not a mount. But yeah, then they slowly closed them off. And you used to be able to, when you could go in there at the very far side, you could see like a big warehouse. And there was an Asura gate in the warehouse. There's always a big mystery. The Miss Stranger Axe. Yeah. Okay, so look, guys, I want to talk a bit about Janthir Wilds here. I've got a couple of questions from you guys. And feel free to keep dropping comments in the live chat, because I'm going to try and keep my eye on both. And we'll see what we think as we go along here. So... all I gotta do... make sure I get the right screenshot. How many screenshots have I taken here? Yeah, okay. That's the Mabon comment. Alright, here we go. So, some thoughts and review from you guys at the end of the last episode on Godspawn. Now that we've basically seen the patch here, so let's see what people think. So first, we got this comment. One major worry I have watching the end: why are Arenanet seemingly switching out the characters? Are they going to introduce a cast of new ones again? They did this last expansion. I feel it wasn't helpful. I agree that it wasn't helpful last expansion to have such a different cast. The big problem last expansion was we were introduced to a great many new characters, plus Zodja. You know, Timey wasn't a feature, Ritlock wasn't a feature, Kaith wasn't a feature. It was a whole new cast, which is a dicey proposition enough in a mini X-Pack, right? It's already a dicey proposition in a Heart of Thorn sized X-Pack, frankly. But in a mini X-Pack, it's already kind of a crazy idea. But, you know, they wanted it to be like a fresh start, I guess, for new players or whatever was going on there. So they gave us a new cast, but then what made it especially bad after that was, you know, Zodja is returning, but at the end of the day, we didn't even really know her character, especially around the Ascension and stuff. But then they swapped it again almost, you know. Then the post patches were in Nyos, where there were very minor crossovers. So, you know, we saw Galrath briefly, and then we saw Galrath again briefly, but that was it, you know. So, Secrets of the Obscure was just kind of the worst-case scenario. Whether it might have been a bad idea to have a new cast in the first place, and then to split it like this was even, you know... This patch, I don't know that. So, I agree, I don't think that was very good. Is that what they've done here, though? Janthir Wilds has Kaith, who's a major character from previous eras of the game. Kaith is like the Zodja this time, I guess. But Janthir Wilds is also full of Wizard's Court NPCs. Dagda features heavily. Isgarin features heavily. Waiting Sorrow is new, sure, but has big ties back here, so it doesn't feel that new. I don't know whether I've seen that they've changed the cast, really. I mean, we've got a couple of new bear NPCs in the game. That's all. And that's fair because we're in a new area, right? You want to meet new societies and cultures and characters when you go to a new area. But what you say here is your major worry is the end? Why are Arenanet seemingly switching out the characters? So I guess you're saying this because of Malice and Kaith leaving at the end. I don't know. I don't think they're going to deliberately introduce a new cast of characters. I don't think that Kaith and Malice have necessarily left either. Like, they have their own agendas and things to do. But look, I remain convinced. Tell me I'm wrong, chat. Tell me I'm wrong. But I remain convinced that Malice has more to do in this story. If Malice just walks off now and that's it and it's over, I mean, that's just awful, isn't it? Why was Malice in this story in the first place? That's rubbish. I don't think that... They must have a plan for her. And I like to think it's an Ash Legion sneaky play for the Claw of the Kana. Or something. Well, not the Claw, but just to become Kana. I don't know. And Kaith with the Pale Tree thing. They've mentioned the Pale Tree thing a lot. I think that they're clearly setting something with that up. And there'll be more Kaith. I really feel that. You're wrong. Well, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see who's right about that. I think just because they've got other stuff, it doesn't mean that they're leaving the story. Next, we got the Scrooch, who says, I cry myself... I just thought this was funny. I cry myself to sleep every day knowing that my Bon is dead. Look, actually, I didn't just think this is funny. Can I just say, right, I hear this a lot from people. They're like, I miss my Bon. My Bon was so much better than Isgaran. My Bon. My Bon. My Bon. And to me, right... Did Mabon have that big of an impact? Mabon is kind of like the new Tybalt. Mabon was not in the expansion for very fucking long. He's barely in it, and then he dies. It's over, man. So I don't know what it was that people clung to so quickly. I think people like the idea of Mabon rather than Mabon himself. He's there, he's enigmatic, and he exits the stage before you get to know him and dislike him. I think that's what it is. You don't get very long to, like... end up finding him flat, and therefore people... I'm not that connected to Mabon. I like the character, right? But to say I'm like more connected to him than any of the others, like yeah, he got written out early, and I think one of the reasons he got written out early was because they didn't want to play around with this like really nice forthcoming ancient character. Any other ancient characters are less forthcoming, or they're just kind of awkwardly tap dancing around now, so they don't give us information about the deep history of Tyria. You know, he was all right, but people really connected with Mabon, and I just don't see it. Maybe because he was a friendly Massart? I mean, yeah, he was cool in that way. Like, I like the character. I see the sentiment so much for someone that was barely in the story. Again, it's the Tybalt thing, isn't it? It's the Tybalt thing. And it made me laugh a bit. Roasted Walnut says, I know this is most likely not going to happen. Oh, yeah, this comment. And this really won't happen. Okay, here we go. I know this is most likely not going to happen, but can you imagine if we get the Massart White Mantle City in the 3rd map, and then by the final episode, we get the 4th map of the expansion, and it's set back in the Fire Island Chains? All right, hold on. Actually, I think you're just a bit confused, right? Oh, no, you're not confused, because the release had 2 maps. So, what you're saying is... Alright, maybe this isn't too crazy. Here's what you're saying. You're saying, map 1, map 2. This doesn't count, even though it was pretty good. Shit, I should have played it on this character so it was unfogged. Whatever. Map 1, map 2. Oh my god, we have Guild Wars 1 music at the moment. Let's turn this shit up. This is what Lion's Arch is good, if you can just get through that crazy fanfare song. So map 1, map 2, map 3 is at Janthir Gravis. Let's ignore the Highland Shore, right? You're saying not this. Janthir Gravis. Actually, I feel like Bavanisos is up here, but whatever. Right. And then you're saying the final map is back down here? So there is space. And this is where the Door of Kamali would be. So what you're saying, like the story would be, we go, we find the entrance to the other realm or something... And then back here. In general, I like this idea of, like, dotting content around core Tyrian areas. Like, my big candidate is this place here, the Delesio Seaboard. If you've played Guild Wars 1, you can come here, right? There's a mission here. There's a big White Mantle Temple. There's a thing to Dwayna. I did a data mining video a few years ago where, which showed that pre-release, Arenanet was going to make this as an open world map. It was going to be all the Delesio Seaboard up here. And it was going to come down and give you Claw Island as well. Open world Claw Island, guys. And I still like the idea of this being added one day. I actually liked it as well a lot last year because it's so close to the Wizard's Tower. It was kind of a big candidate. But instead we got the Horn, right? And it was all at the Horn. I feel like Janthir Wilds they're going to keep it in Janthir. I don't think it's
so
going to be
much to
the
do.
Fire Island chain. I also think, guys, I don't think this has got anything to do with the Realm of Torment or the Domain of Anguish or Abaddon or any of that. Maybe I'm wrong. There's something about the fact that the base expansion offhandedly said that while we're doing our thing, Lear and Co. over here, we're going to check out the Foundry, and then we're going to do an exposition on it. And then this patch, we didn't even hear about how that went. There was no update on that. The fact that that went that way, there's not even an update, makes me think that it's just kind of a hand-wavy thing that... I think basically the story is it's not this forge. Don't worry about this forge. And I think Arenanet just don't want to get into all the Abaddon shit and stuff. And, you know, there's something to be said for going to new places, seeing new things. You know, the cryptids are kind of a new idea. I think there's more fun things we can do. We can talk about other gods, other realms. We can talk about the Menzies idea, all of that. I don't know, though. For the Menzies theory to work out, it would be the Realm of Torment, though. Right? Because the entrance that was here is also the entrance of the Fire Island chain. Hopefully people are following what I'm talking about. I'm just assuming you all have the same grasp on the story as me at the moment. But yeah, no, I think it'll be here. I really think next patch is probably... The thing is, right, this patch ended with a very clear thing of we're going to go to Barvanisos, which would suggest it is going to be Janthir Gravis, right? So where does the Highland Shore fit in? I don't know. I also like this other theory that came up on a couple of episodes ago, where someone said, you know, we talked about the whole Nether Portal thing in Minecraft. You can have the city, map 3 will be here, and then map 4 it's like another Nio style thing. But it's like the city on the other side. I don't know, I actually... Look, we just had an expansion with another realm in it, where it's sort of Tyria, but sort of not. Let's have it all on interior this time. I don't know. I'm just going to say Highland Shore, Janthir Gravis. That's how I feel about it. I mean, I've just talked myself off of it.
I have so much to do.
This expansion has been heavy with Abrams' mystery box model. That's what the hatch in Lost was, right? Essentially. Oh, we're going to have a deserted island and there'll be a hatch. What's in the hatch? I don't know. We'll work it out later. That's an actual quote from them. And they were on point, to be fair to them, when they were figuring out that answer. They invented all the Desmond stuff and the button, which is just insanely cool. Season 2 was amazing. Oh, God, that was a good show. All right. So here's a good one about Waiting Sorrow. There were lots of comments about Waiting Sorrow, guys. Lots and lots and lots. I've tried to be selective about what we talk about here. So, Zhu Zhang... Or, I think I've been saying your name right. 9580. About Waiting Sorrow's abandonment of the Wizard's Court. It occurred to me that the circumstances were somehow similar to Zodja being missing, air quotes, from the end of Heart of Thorns to the start of Secrets of the Obscure. When Secrets of the Obscure launched, it was stated that Zodja left Ratasum to heal her PTSD and find her path. And we talked about how she basically left everyone and chose not to help with any of the world-ending threats. Obviously, we were supposed to feel sorry for Zodja and sympathize with her, but I remember some of us being uninterested with this personal arc of hers, myself included, because these dramas were not just captivating to us. Okay, let me jump in first of all. Yes, it didn't captivate me. I wasn't very interested in that as an arc for her. One, because I didn't really even see it be justified. In like, if you follow her through the novel, if you follow her through the personal story, and if you follow her through the dungeon story, where she's kind of written very differently between the two, you know, she's very nice in the personal story and she's a lot meaner in the dungeons. If you follow her through all of that, none of that is leading to PTSD arc, where she needs time alone and she feels unappreciated and she can't go to anyone for any help. It's just kind of manufactured and slapped onto her. Like, it's not built in any way, I don't think. And they kind of retroactively tried to justify it again, but I thought that was a bit of a weak point of Secrets of the Obscure, honestly. And they could have done so many interesting things, you know. It's a magical medieval fantasy world, and you've had a main character gone missing for years. You can go a bit crazy with it. Tell something fun and wild. Tell something mystical and magical. Do something interesting. No, let's talk about Zodja's fucking PTSD that wasn't in the DNA of the story in the first place. Meh. I mean, look, the loss of Snaff and her vendetta and all that, yes, is a thing, but, you know, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, to be honest, because if you're going to go down that route, you really need a very, very good explanation for why she didn't pop up again during the Kraukatoric arc. Kraukatoric killed Snaff, alright? So she participates in the Heart of Thorn stuff a bit, and obviously with Zaitan, and she's not even around for the... It's just bizarre, man. They could have done better with that, I think, looking back. Anyway, obviously we're supposed to feel for Zodja and empathize with her, but I remember some of us being uninterested with this personal arc of hers, myself included, because these dramas were not captivating. Waiting Sorrow's thing is exactly the same, but even worse. In Secrets of the Obscure, it was suggested that she left because her past memory was bubbling up and she wanted to find out more about herself. Yeah, that is what they suggested in Secrets of the Obscure. It was a purely selfish act in Secrets of the Obscure. It was because she had some memories and the Ascension had been a bit balked, and it was like, what is this? And we can empathize with her decision, her journey of self-discovery. We can empathize with Mabon as well, who only has these flashing memories of blood and stuff, right? Like, I can understand her selfishly going off to explore. But in Janthir Wilds, they've kind of tweaked it, and they've said instead she left because her people were in chaos. Even though she never came to her people for hundreds of years, by the way, guys, remember? So that sticks in my... I don't really like that either, the way they try to...
So nice to see you.
So anyway, back to the commenter. They say, even if we accept the Janthir Wilds revision of her reason... Sorry, version of her reason. It's still true that after Jormag died, i.e. the whispers and all that would in theory have stopped, after Jormag died, she chose not to act when the Cryptis invaded. Basically, she chose to stay with her people and disregarded the Cryptis threat. And we know that she knew about the Cryptis threat, extra-dimensional, serious issue, and she would have understood these things about Eparch as well, and the severity of this, but she didn't even fucking move or do anything. I really think Mabon's death can be partially blamed on her being inactive, and that's why I feel the same as WP. I don't understand how Dagda is so forgiving of all this, and I don't feel for her, since nothing so far convinced me that her leaving was justified. And again, there were lots of messages about Waiting Sorrow, about like how, you know, we didn't hear enough about how she was tormented as a voice. I just think the fundamental idea of the story they've gone with here, I kind of like. But I want a lot more conversations with her. I want to be able to grill her and press her and get reasonable answers from her in-game. And then I'd be in love with all of this. But it's like a lot of it's just kind of hand-waved. And I don't know. Something about it is unsatisfying to me so far with the Janthir Wild story. I don't know. How do you guys feel about the Waiting Sorrow thing at this point?
It's a good
But
day.
yeah, this thing about Dagda's just like... Oh my god, I got my friend back. She abandoned me for hundreds of years without any real reason, but I got her back. You can maybe explain a bit with a time jump theory, which some people have in one of these other comments, so let's try and get into that now. I think this is the time jump theory. Oh, maybe not, actually. Sorry, it's hard to balance these plus the current live messages going on. I am trying to keep an eye on them, guys. BR Spy says, that's why I liked Stoic's line, where he was like, hey, my people aren't just here to soothe your conscience. See, I didn't like that line, though, because from his perspective, he wasn't betrayed by her. From his perspective, I think that was over the top, somehow, or not natural. Because, again, as I said when we came upon that line, like, why isn't it? Like, if her abandoning the Coden caused them great turmoil and trouble, and they never thrived and all of that, then I could understand his line. He could be like, well, what the fuck? We've struggled for all these years. We've this, we've that, we've whatever. But that's not how Arenanet have presented that tribe. Arenanet have presented that tribe as very, you know, at one with nature and quite happy. They're isolationists and they're distrustful of magic and whatever. But generally speaking, they're alright with their lot in life and they've done okay. It's like you kind of can't have it both ways, you know. John says, was Zodja really a real big deal at launch? Because I don't remember her being important. Well, I guess it depends if you played in Asura. You know, each of the major races, each of the major branches through the game, they had an iconic character. Look, Zodja, if you think Ritlock's a big deal, Zodja could have been everything that Ritlock is. It's just exposure. It's just how much the character was written into the story. And I guess to a certain extent, I mean, the assumption is, we don't know on the outside, but how much the voice actor can spend time with the studio or wants to take on big roles with them. But, you know, Ritlock became a huge character over the years. Logan could have had just as much influence on the story, and largely Logan's been in it a lot. Kaith, likewise, sorry to Kaith as well, she's in loads over the years. Basically, Air and Zodja had very little time with the game, but Air had a real reason for getting written out. Sorry, I'm speaking... Air got killed in game, right? So we don't expect to see her around. But even then, she popped up in Season 4 again as a ghost. And, yeah, so you did Sylvari, so you didn't know Zodja very much. That's a bit of a failing of Corteria, though, I would say. You know, I should just let it go, obviously. But, like, the dungeon story is very short for what it was trying to tell. And you kind of end up not getting enough of these other characters. You get just a few side-by-side cutscenes per dungeon, right? Which is a shame. Anyway, alright, let's see what Hardy says. I like the patch. I thought it was paced well. And yeah, by the way, I agree with this. Overall, I like the patch, and I also thought it was paced well. Someone had a comment where they said, oh, they undersold this. And I agree, and I think that's a good thing. They said 3 story chapters. I don't even know what that means, by the way. Can we just pause for a second here? 5 and... Oh, no, we have to go on to the Sylvari here. The Packed Flower. You think they did Air dirty too? Her voice actor was shocked about Air's death. Really? How do you know that? The voice actor was shocked she died. Really? Alright, here, if we go story journal, right, and we go Janthir Wilds. I see. So when they say 3 chapters, they mean that's just how they broke it up. But each of these is a shit ton of instances and lots of stuff going on. So yeah, they undersold this patch, and I think that's good. My expectations were low, and in terms of just amount there was, it felt totally on par with the Secrets of the Obscure release. Side lore and no side stories, no side lore, no objects to interact with or to pick up. I think that's all a bit disappointing. Even the Nyos patches, right? When you're traveling around Nyos, you have things to pick up. Utilization of Corteria, I think, was a bit weak on this. I wanted more from that. But overall, it was alright. So yeah, you know. I'm not super doomery about it. Okay, and let me just be clear as well. I really didn't get on with the Nyos patches, and I pretty much got on with this one. So we're a step up from Nyos, as far as I'm concerned. There was something so underwhelming about Nyos. I don't know what it was. There was something so underwhelming about it. And then by patch 2 and 3, it was really, for me, it was really falling apart. Alright, here we go. Sorry, so Costi says her voice actor Jocelyn Blue mentioned that on Twitter or Facebook, and it was also referenced in Guild Chat and possibly one of the VA videos behind the scenes. Really? She told the story, says Kitabake, of how she came for recording, and they told her that they are recording Air's death. Bad map design. I think it was more the environment design. But it was also my expectations for a demon storyline not being fulfilled. Like, I wanted badass, scary, creepy demons, and we got kind of lame demons. I use that word too often. They were very, like, meek and uninterested. You know, it was just another oppressed society. And it just felt a bit... You're hyping for a load of books in Bavanisos? Oh, God, me too as well. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool? Oh my god. The books in Bavanisos, that's a great comment. That's a great thing to look forward to. Very exciting. Okay, so I liked it. I thought it was paced well. I really like the Convergence map, and I hope future maps use those beyond border stuff and skybox painterly landscapes. Yeah, okay, so just to quickly review Mount Balrior itself, I think it's good. I like the map. What's not to like? Plenty of playable space. I think I prefer... I've only done it once, but that Convergence feels every bit as good as last year's Convergences. Maybe better. Not bad, right? So I think this was a strong enough release. In the context of mini X-Packs, this is the best release we've had so far. Wherever you feel that bar is. My only real gripe with the story is I think there should have been more notes. The Wizard's Tower instance could have used notes from the ward left at the door. Fit is Garen by members too scared to knock. That's a good idea, yeah. Lol, stuff like things going on, sharing weather tracking with the Alliance, etc. Help explain the ward, helping the world more, since we haven't seen too much of that per se. And just go expand the lore with these group relationships. Hell, about the ward giving information to the Whispers even. Yeah, all of that would have been lots of fun. As for where the story's going, I try to think logically. Since Arenanet appears to be better at planning, I have this itch in my head that makes me think this is going to circle back to Nyos. With Secrets of the Obscure, they didn't need to introduce Nyos and the Cryptus. They could have used a Tyrion or other more known mist threat for the wizards to fight. There was no lore behind the ward, and they could have done anything but chose the Cryptus. They set up the Cryptus and Nyos. I mean, the Eye of Janthir was also there for a reason, right? Yeah, that's a very good point. We want to remember that cliffhanger. By the way, I think I don't know where you're going with this comment, by the way, but I think what you want to remember is that they very specifically, it was kind of a fresh start in a lot of ways. So inventing new things in the wake of the Elder Dragons was kind of it was something they had to do. But anyway, if there's a mist portal in the center of the main Masat city, assuming portals are to fixed locations and can't change, it makes sense if it goes through to the thing prophesized to kill them. It makes more sense if it leads to a place tied to Masat, like where they were kicked out of the mists, presumably Nyos. How neat would it be if you walk through that portal thinking you'll be going to the Domain of Anguish, and you end up in a ruined Masat city in Nyos with the Eye of Janthir just staring at you and then vanishing. But that ignores what Ura said, unless you can get to the Domain of Anguish via Nyos somehow. Miss a wonky. I guess what did Ura say? I guess cynically they could recycle the Titans again and then go into a tiny instance of the Forge and shut it down again. Edit, I just did the Convergence, and while running by the home base, I saw an NPC named Vetia Foeraiser. I was curious and wondered if they were in the game before. She's in Grothmar Valley when you have to fix a bunch of her stompers that are trying to remove branded crystals underground. I thought it was a nice little touch. I don't know, I'm not excited about going back to Nyos is a weird thing, right? We did a lot of discussion in this Let's Play. And I don't want to go all through it again, right? But we did a lot of discussion as to whether this is really the Masat homeland. And there's this theory that it is, but it got corrupted in some way. The Masat did it to themselves, or something happened. The equivalent of like a corrupting magical nuke or something. And like, are the Cryptis devolved Masat? You know, what is the timeline here? The Masat are in the mists, possibly Nyos. They fuck it up. Then they come to Tyria. Then they live here for a while. Then there's the Elder Dragons and the Flameseeker prophecies. And they view this as a doomed place for them, because if the Elder Dragons don't kill them, the Titans will. So they leave again. To where, though, right? Do they go back to Nyos? It doesn't look like it. There's none there. We get the Eye of Janthir, but nothing else. So are they in a third place now? And as they go to the third place, some of them get left behind in exile. And these are the Masat we've known about in the story ever since. This is who Dada's a part of, or descended from, Mabon and so on. Manicas, Lazarus the Dire, Optimus Caliph, all of the villainous Masat that we know, they're the worst of their society. They were left in exile. So those exiles end up creating a portal in the city. Where do they take the portal? Would they go back to Nyos, a place that they had knowingly already fucked up years ago? I doubt it. I think they would go to place 3, wouldn't they? And place 3 is an important thing, guys, because if the theme of this whole arc, right, is extra-dimensional threats threatening Tyria. Tyria's in the middle. We've got all these threats. If we're looking at the mists, if we're exploring them as much as possible, and particularly with a view to eventually talk about where the human gods are now, the garden, and Guild Wars 3 is set on the garden, right? Which is what I absolutely think is the coolest fucking idea, and would be, you know, basically all these mini X-Packs are building to the big Guild Wars 3 reveal. And so the mini X-Packs keep talking about other locations in the mists to get to the God's Garden, right? So if that is what's happening, it's in their interest to keep showing us different realms. Do we want to go back to the realm of Torment? We already did it in Guild Wars 2. We've already done it. The library scene, right? Do we want to go back to the Fissure of Woe with Menzies? Maybe. Maybe. Do we want to go back here? I don't know. Maybe I'm just such a fucking miser about this. I'm such a anti-fan of Nyos. It really didn't hit my bars. So maybe it's just that. But I like to think that this portal goes to another place. I like to think that the foundry, Abaddon's foundry, for want of a better term, behind the door of command and stuff, I think that's all done. So yeah, but I don't know. Could be wrong about all this, obviously, because a lot of what I just said there is guesswork about what the actual order of what the Massart did and the timeline and stuff. Cottage continues with the messages. It could be the Epoch Citadel of Zakiros could have originated as a Massart fortress, but they leave it in an ambiguous state from Epoch fortifying it. Yeah, Nyos is just so weird. Like, we discussed these ideas, and Nyos is such a weird place as well, because it's like the realm of dreams. And if I remember rightly, isn't the idea that Epoch was like salvaging shit, right, from other societies and realities and bringing them to Nyos? Wasn't that right? Isn't it like it's almost like an amalgam of other places? Dada's note also mentions that the descendants of exiled Tyrian Massarts also seem to have split off after Manakaz and Optimus. Yeah, she suggests that some of them are in far-flung corners of Tyria, and she, you know, and she's disgusted by Manakaz's plan to sacrifice Crichtons. She has that cool line where she says, "Why are we? The plan used to be to just escape. Why is the plan stopped being to escape? Why are we trying to live on this fucking prison planet now? Fuck Tyria. We should be escaping. Why are we trying to live here now? Why are we slaughtering people to keep the door shut? We should still be focusing on getting out." That was her whole thing, right? And so it makes sense that she opened a portal in Bavanisos. It makes sense. But then this ties into the Titans in some way, and we're saying that the Titans came out of it, right? So that's kind of weird, right? She's just trying to leave. So then why does... And let's assume she opened a portal and succeeded in that. Why does that same portal then start spewing Titans out? There's some real irony in that. And why has it started doing it recently? What did Mabon know, basically? Mabon knew about this shit, definitely. So it's going to be good. You know, as much as I just said Mabon's not my favourite, he's got a really interesting role in the story right now. So Cottage thinks there were 3 groups. You could say the Nyos ones that were good but brutal. Optimus's evil Tyrian faction, and Dada's like independent faction. Yeah, I think that all tracks. All right, let's get to the. Oh, I guess this is hard. I want to keep reading your messages. Unlike popular opinion, I think the color scheme of Nyos is really pretty, so I wouldn't mind it in a different setting. Yeah, I mean that's fair as well. Yeah, people should feel comfortable to be fans of Nyos. I just personally wasn't too much, but yeah. It's got definitely a really cool and weird vibe there, for sure. It reminds me a little bit of the End in Minecraft, when you run like better End mods and stuff. It's just very weird and ethereal and strange. And there were some cool details there, you know, like about even the air, and I just wish they'd had more time with Nyos. That's all it really comes down to. The whole thing about consumption being integral to like their being, and the hunger, and there were some really great ideas there. And there were some great ideas right at the end as well, with those books about Epoch's time on Tyria. I loved that shit. It was so cool. Were the Massart driven by the Cryptis out of Nyos? Well, that's the question, isn't it? We don't know. We don't know. Arenanet was so hands-off about Nyos. WP, I also wonder about that in-between realm that the Massart treated from the dragons to us, since I doubt they found their way back to Nyos. Well, I've always assumed that's just place 3. See, that's a funny thing as well. I remember... when I played Ara Path 2... So if you guys don't know this story, in Ara Path 2, this is where you find out about the Massart basically hiding and escaping and just running away from the Elder Dragons. When I played that, it was very obvious to me, through just looking at the bigger picture and like what the story was basically saying, was that this was the Massart learning to travel to another realm in the mists. To me, it was very obvious. But if you actually look at, if you don't see the forest from the trees, if you just look at the very, very specific detail, I think they use a different phrase. They say that they slip out of phase with reality or something. They don't really phrase it in the same way. And I remember for years people getting really hung up on that, like, oh, it's not the same thing or whatever. I don't know. I think pursuing that line of inquiry is going to be an unnecessary wriggle and complication that they just don't have time to satisfactorily resolve. So, yeah. But, I mean, it's kind of the whole unseen ones thing, you know. Maybe this is just the practice they use to stay on Tyria but hide. You know, become invisible. You can't see them without the gift of true sight, you know. I feel like if there was a lot more screen time for this subject material, Arenanet could really hammer out ticky-tacky details like the exact phrasing and what we're looking at in a RP2 versus everything else. But I don't know myself whether we'll ever really get that. All right, let's do another comment here. I've got 4 more, by the way, guys. 4 more. Oh, wait. Or maybe 6 more. I think it's 6 more. Here we go. Next one here, then, from Maneva. Interestingly, there are 4 types of Titan spawn seen throughout Janthir. Greer has spawn like the Blighted Beasts or Rot Striders, and they have a rotted tree/swampy aesthetic. Decima has spawn called the Lucid Boulders and the Liminal Conduits, and they appear to have a lightning and crystal structures that look like basalt columns. The profile for Decima also states that one of her spheres is igneous conduits, though that would imply she has some degree of influence over volcanic activity or magma, which we don't see in-game. Did we see that in the Convergence, though? There was lava around. And the sulfur and the geysers, isn't that kind of like, you know, manipulating geothermal energies, maybe? The Ura has new spawn in this patch called the Fumarollers and Vent Shots, which look like the sulfurous rock. Yeah, that's Ura, isn't it? And her theme is generally related to steam and geysers, as stated in the patch. I wonder if they should have shown Ura's appearance back at the end of Core WAJ story to avoid theorizing about her size. I know it would have removed some of the investigative part of the first story instance, but it would have avoided the disappointment of realizing she isn't much bigger than Greer or Decima. I was also expecting more detail regarding her being a Titan Imperatrix. What does that even mean? They imply she built Greer and Decima in the Foundry. Is that all that it comes down to, or is there more to it than that? Yeah, in retrospect, so we're reviewing this patch here, right? The Ura stuff's so strange to me. I guess, look, the story isn't fully told. But I came out of base Janthir Wilds with a really strong feeling that she was like their maker. That those 2 massive titans themselves had spawned from her. And I thought that was really cool. And I thought she'd be the size of the mountain or merge with the environment or something. I thought she was like this godlike, amazing, big, powerful thing. I thought it was a little bit like how Secrets of the Obscure gave us the big baddie at the end, you know? And now this is what it was. But then this patch, it's just, she just sort of seems on par with them, you know? It's not what I expected. And they could have had her be bigger, you know. She would have been a different kind of model and enemy, you know. She would have been like Zaitan or whatever, or Primordus' head in Season 3. But, yeah, I don't know. The 4th type of spawn all use the prefix Ruin Shard and have alabaster carved stone and Massart jade. At launch, I thought these would give an indication of Ura's appearance, at the time thinking that Ura had taken up residence in Barvanisos. I think we'll find there's a 4th Titan in the city who relates to these spawns. Whether the Titan is alive or not remains to be seen, as we don't yet know whether the spawn outlived their progenitors by a substantial margin. It also raises the question of why so many of these Ruin Shard Titan spawn exist in and around the Sulphurous Springs. Outside of Rifts, this is the only place you can see these spawn in large numbers. I hadn't really picked up on any of these details. This thing about Ruin Shard Titans, and they look a little bit jadey and like they're Massart influenced. No idea, really. I'm a little bit disappointed this patch didn't really have... well, no. Look, this patch was never about the White Mantle stuff. And just because that's my preference for subject material, it doesn't mean this was a bad patch for not having at it. Interesting. Right, so next we have this one. Okay, so here's an interesting theory. I alluded to it a minute ago. Playing through, I felt that people were being very emotional and overreacting to things, but now I agree with the idea people voiced that they have split the story from the release to this patch, and it explains a lot of the tensions. When you return to the Wizard's Tower, it makes so much more sense if you've been gone for like 3 days instead of 3 months. And it also makes sense why Isgaran is still mad at Waiting Sorrow, because it would be part of his initial emotional reaction to the traitor returning, implying that the wizards never left the room after we leave. And it also makes it more funny than the rest of the ward evacuated the immediate area to go have tea or something. It would explain why Stoic Order is so upset with since Sorrow had just come clean about her past, and he was still processing the facts when it turns out she had not actually come clean about everything. Additionally, it would explain why Dagda is 100% team Waiting Sorrow at this point in time, because she hasn't had time to process. I expect her to be a bit more neutral going forwards. Considering that not everything is voiced, I get the feeling this decision to split the story was made some time ago, and I initially wished they edited it a bit more to reflect that people's feelings could mellow out a little over time. But I think back on replay that this will work quite well. I think the story split did leave a nice cliffhanger in the first part with Ura revealed at the end. If we had killed her immediately, it would have been a bit anticlimactic. So I don't know about this, guys. This theory that that this patch we just played was once upon a time just going to be a part of the base expansion. I don't know. I don't think that can be it. I get it though. I get that it flows better on replay, like those two are still in the same room. I guess I just assume. No, I don't think they've literally only been in that room. I think the idea is they've been arguing for 3 months. Which, yeah, is very cartoony and silly, right? And melodramatic. But I think that's the idea. On and off, they've been like, you know, they'll meet and they'll argue, and then they'll go off in a half, and then they'll meet and they'll argue, and they'll go off in a half. Because they're just, you know, that's what they're like. Families argue, or whatever, right? I don't know. I don't buy this theory. Anyone on side with that, though? I mean, there were a lot of people talking about it before. And it's funny how they do kind of connect. I think a lot of this stuff does get chopped and changed, though. Like with that final instance, having a story journal that seems to refer to things that didn't happen, like a fight that didn't happen and stuff. So who knows? There might have been a point in time where it was all planned out for the original release. Not sure. I dislike the characterization of Isgaran as an old rambling man, which is also spilling over in the direction of his voice acting now. He is old, but his body isn't. There's no reason for him to sound like he's drooling in his mouth. If we go back to the Amnitas projections, again, the Isgaran speech about knowledge is very eloquent and to the point. So I don't know why they're going with this. Maybe improvised public speaking is just not his thing. And also considering the 3 days time frame from Anis's stab about Tyrian politics is even more to the point. Yeah, I don't know, the rambling thing with Isgaran. Overall, guys, I have to say, in review, I don't think Isgaran was too bad in this patch. He was obnoxious and rude sometimes, but in all the ways I enjoy about him. He is a stiff character, and he is a bit rude, and he is unlikable, and he is, you know... That's what's quite cool about him, though. So there were certain moments there that I thought, yeah, he's a bit of a dick, but in a way I like. The rambling thing feels like just another avenue to stop the players liking him in any way. I don't like at all the way all the other characters are constantly snipping at him and constantly talking shit about him. I really don't like that. But, hold on though. I don't like that from the context that theoretically we're on side with them. So what I really didn't like was the commander agreeing. You know, Dagda talks shit about him, Waiting Sorrow talks shit about him, and then we walk over to them and press F on them, and then the commander starts talking shit as well, or agreeing. That annoys me, because it's like, that's not how I would feel as the commander or whatever, and I don't like that joining in. And the joining in makes me feel like we're sort of just supposed to de facto be in that place where we don't like this guy. But that aside, I think it's kind of okay. And look, if the ultimate story here is some vindication for the old man, that despite all these people quipping and pinching at him and, you know, biting at his heels like little chihuahuas, if ultimately, you know, he proves to have some value, I think I'll quite enjoy that story. You know, if he's vindicated in the end, I think all these little moments where everyone else is being snarky and dismissive of him, I think they'll all feel the richer, ultimately. Because you'll play back through it and you'll be like, yeah, look at the way they're treating him. And I think that would be very cool. But when the commander starts joining in, it makes me feel like that's not the plan whatsoever. And then that leaves me a little bit miffed. But yeah, just to generally review this patch, I didn't think the Osgarin stuff was too bad. He had his decent moments. There were some wobbly moments, the rambling thing. But overall, you know, I think it was fine. For the amount of fucking discussion we've done about the guy and our takes on the guy, we'll see how the story continues along. I think there's still all the possibility they're building to a big villain arc for him where he's a boss at the end of the third one or something. But then there's also a possibility that they're not going in that direction. I don't know. WP will realise he is too mean and better his life. Wait, well, with regard to what? Wait, who's he there? Me? Or Isgarin? I'm going to better Isgarin's life? Kitabako says, I think they make Isgarin bad, but they make him look good as he is attacked. We can empathise with him. It'd be funny if they made him a villain. I feel like they should drop the IRL to story time match. In my opinion, it doesn't hold up for replay value with slow things. Yeah, like it's a thorn in their side. It does suck, the IRL to story thing. And you can feel that disconnect here in this patch. So maybe they could do that. I wouldn't mind that. There's still that massive unresolved plotline of a forgotten prisoner from the Bastion of the Penitent possibly still being out there. That's true, yeah, and Vars. I think if they start dealing with Vars and Isgarin, especially if there was like a romance between them, I think it could do a lot to talk about his loneliness and so on. Speaking of loneliness, we have a comment about that in a second. So let's just let's move on from him for a second. Strawberry goes on. They say the Steam Titan, him, was a bit sad. The smaller Titans in the wild are more annoying. I was definitely going all in to save the poor Priory kitten from the evil Titans at the start of the mission, though. So that part was a success. Yeah, that bit with the Steam Titan was just a low light of the patch, wasn't it? That whole mission, that long walk you do into that big area to apparently do a big boss fight, but it's just a random mob. That was wild, really. Honestly, guys, one of the all-time worst beats in an instance in the story in the game. Like, we're talking core level there. Not great. I was also trying to dodge Waiting Sorrow's AoE skills on more than one occasion. I forgot how visual her stuff is, yeah. At the end of the first patch, you find the book in the room, A Collective History, Volume 6, that mentions Mabon going to Janthir, and it ends on, said it was penance for the past, a promise made from one former monster to another. I wonder if this person, or something related to them, is what we will find in Bavanissos. Who will join us? My heart is set on Zizzle, but reality is probably Poised Arrow. Who will join us for there? I don't know. Zizzle would be amazing. Zizzle's obviously not in the patch. It's probably, yeah, going to be Poised Arrow, for sure. Poised Arrow might join the cast, guys. We might... With the whole thing where he embraces the outside world, he's, you know... It might end with his father, Stoic Alder, staying with the Coden, and him sort of becoming a major character going forwards. Could be. And I want to be excited about that, but they also introduced a bunch of really cool people who should have been main characters in EOD, and now we haven't seen for a while, you know? Like Ivan and Rama. Yeah, but that one former monster to another... I forget the context of that book, but is there a chance that's Mabon and Dada? Anyway. That's another one of your reviews. Okay, now we have 4 left. Oh, yeah. Also, as a final comment to the one we just had just now. Some more speculation. Isgarin says in the final instance that he severed the connection to the Mists for Waiting Sorrow to break her connection with Coda. If we go through the gate in Bavanissos, will we meet whoever Coda is? Maybe they've been unsuccessfully trying to relay a message to Tyrael all this time. Well, Coda could still talk to the other voices. I'd also love to go back to LA and have another vote on the old scepter, but maybe that's for the final story patch where we know more about what we're up against. and people can agree it's necessary to use it. Yeah, that might be a nice conclusion to all of this. But yeah, the idea that Coda, they'll weave the Coda stuff into there, and Coda could be in this place 3, that's a fun idea, isn't it? Very fun. Right, next we've got Anthony. Oh man, imagine if the Coda was somehow related or collaborating with Massart out in the mists. And you might say, well, why would they be so invested in Tyrion's stability? Don't forget the Massart that fled. They're not necessarily bad guys. They might try and look out for Tyrion in a distance and assume this facade of Coda to do it. Get the Codan to try and keep balance or something. That would be a real twist and turn. Chekhov's scepter. It is really. It's 100% Chekhov's gun. Anthony says, I'm a little disappointed nothing seems to come from Kaith and the Sylvari finding something that can help the Pale Tree. I thought that was the whole reason Kaith tagged along. But the story's not over yet. This one I don't really agree with, because the story's not over. We're clearly still building to something there. Once Janthir Wilds is over, we might segue out into a Malik storyline or something, another Pale Tree for the next release. You never know. What was the point in the scepter stuff? Just to acknowledge it and stop people questioning it? I guess, yeah, for now. I feel like they've got more of a plan with it, though. I mean, because they could have done that without the big vote scene and everything. Those were such good moments of JW. Next. As much as I suspect the same with WP, there could be an... Oh, I love this one. There could be an explanation for Isgarin not rambling about how he saved Waiting... Remember I said in the last part that we glossed over when Isgarin had a moment to explain he saved Waiting Sorrow's life and he made her immortal and he gave her all these gifts, right? He didn't go on about it. It was really short and hand-waved. And I thought that's a cynical way to bury him being a good character because they don't want you to like him. And I thought that was a bit transparent, and I didn't really like that. And I thought it was out of character as well. In the same patch, you're telling me he likes to go on and on and on about how great he is, and here he doesn't take an obvious opportunity to do that. And I didn't like that moment. But here, as much as I suspect the same as with WP, as in that it's just because they want to vilify Isgarin, there could be an explanation for him not rambling about how he saved WS and granting her immortality during the last instance. There's this quote from his journal in the base release. I've often thought about my choice as naive, and at other times I've wondered if the elder races were too protective of magic. But he's thinking because of the seer policy to keep the magic away. He says, but I turned her immortal. I gave her access to immense power to save her life, and that shouldn't have been my choice. It suggests that he ultimately regretted his choice, and so maybe that explains why he didn't linger in it in this most recent patch. But of course, I feel like the in real life reason is that they don't want the players to realise Isgarin's contribution. Yeah, 100%. I think it's both. I think they don't want players to think about his contributions, but it does actually work. It is in character. You're right. You're right. He does regret that choice. Because remember, Isgarin's other big thing is he doesn't like things calling themselves gods and coming in and tampering. He doesn't like the Six and what they did with the Bloodstone, right? And whether our little theory about their big suicide is true or not, right? He doesn't like it. He doesn't like things calling themselves gods. That's like the number one thing about him. Well, not the number one, but a big thing about him. And he's probably looking back on his decision there with Waiting Sorrow. And it's kind of like a godlike tampering thing he did with her. She's just like this little life form. And look at what she did. And yeah, maybe he's very conflicted about it, and maybe he regrets it, and he's written as much in his journal. So despite his rambling and all that shit, he doesn't talk about it in the last instance. I think that's bang on, that's really good. I agree. And I wasn't thinking about that when we were playing that instance, but it's a good thing to look back at. Alright, just 2 more here, guys. Relife says, what are your thoughts, WP, when it comes to future expansion features? I personally wouldn't be surprised if they did some updates to guild features soon, especially with a new focus on guilds in World vs. World. It would be good to give players more reasons to get into guilds and engage with them outside of World vs. World 2. Story-wise, it could work as well. Could have the Alliance commission guilds to do work for them as they make contact with more new areas of the world. I'd like to believe that Dougal's inclusion in the LA instances is a bit of a setup for that. Though I know it's probably just because the Guild HQ is a good setting for meetings. No, I like everything you just said there. I think Dougal's just a bit of fan service, really. I don't think they have many plans for him. But yeah, look, if we're going to say each mini-X pack focuses on a different feature here, there, or anywhere, saying generically guilds for the next mini-X pack sounds great. I think guilds are so big and complicated, though, that's a bit too broad. Like, what are we going to do? Are we going to do guild halls? Are we going to look at a specific building in the guild halls and ramp that up? You know, this expansion you could already say is guilds because it did guild hall decorations, right? But so I'm gonna narrow the focus. I would fucking love if the next mini-X pack takes guild missions onto its shoulders, and whatever that other systems and features that ends up touching, fine. But missions, more incentives for missions, you know, new legendaries that actually require you to do missions, more ways to spend favor, more ways to, you know, just play with these progression systems so we're not just stuck at level 69 anymore. Really take the hammer to guild progression and guild missions, reasons to log in together, to play together. I would love that. You know, I'm really upset. Last year, we finally stopped doing missions. I would come along once in a blue moon, but we had like GMs, we had people running guild missions in the Spud guilds for so long. And I really hate and I really regret that became such a chore for people, and that became so, you know, unsatisfying. People ended up getting all the rewards, they hit their goals. There's no reason to do them right now, and it just kills the whole community building aspect. I think just for me personally, I'd love to have this back, and I'd love to get guilds going, and I'd love to actually contribute to them more and be around more than I was before, because I myself also have my own reasons for doing it. I'd love all of that, so that's my personal reason I'd love them to focus on guilds. But I would also I just think it's a really good idea for the game's health in general. Actual reasons for communities to get together. Like, you know, people ask for guild invites all the time, and I give them out. But there's really not much going on. It's a glorified chat room. And, you know, it's even in... You can also take the superficial argument that it's called Guild Wars, you know. And it's stupid to go, there's no GVG, it's called Guild Wars, right? So the argument I'm making now is just as stupid. But you'd expect some rich, good guild features in this game, right? And, you know, and just seeing how much of the foundations they set up with Heart of Thorns, but then never went back to, fucking hell. So, yeah, if there's any one big area of the feature, you know, or section of this product that I think that they should really, really look at with the next mini-X pack, I agree. Guilds. Hell yeah. But guild missions specifically is what I would say. And with a huge focus on incentives. Reasons to do them. And as I mentioned earlier in this Let's Play, I may as well point out again, I can't help but notice the Wizard's Vault UI. You know, because this like looked at login rewards and dailies last year. This year we've looked a bit more at like decorations. Okay, so it's a little bit less or whatever. You know, and World vs. World has been a big focus. But, you know, the Wizard's Vault, I can't help but notice that you've got objectives and rewards. Can we not just have another tab here? So there's objectives. These are your personal objectives, your daily, weekly, special. If we have another thing here, and it's guild objectives, and you can see the weekly for your guild, or the quarterly for your guild, and they could give you Astral Acclaim, or they could give you a guild currency that is spent. It could all be done in the vault. It would be so good. It just depends how much work they're willing to put into these things, or, you know, that they have the time for and stuff. But yes, I agree, guilds would be amazing. You took it right out of my mouth. Not updated underwater combat? No, sorry, but look, first of all, I don't think that the Guild Wars 2 underwater combat is that bad. But what would that do for the game? How would that grow the game? How would that keep people logging in? Underwater combat, to me, honest to God, is one of the lowest things I would ever prioritize. Because you can just make content that's terrestrial stuff. Even if you did a massive fucking rework to underwater stuff, so what? You're still living in this world where you assume that just because you rework it, it's going to come out perfectly. I don't see what it really gains the game. You know, people, that's not the linchpin for whether people get into an MMO or not, or keep playing an MMO or not. And what does that even mean, underwater rework? Sorry, I'm very, very against that. I would never, ever, ever advocate for funding or wasting time with underwater. It's good enough. Leave it as is. And when I say it's good enough, I think it's better than any other underwater combat on the scene, right? What MMO has better underwater combat than this game? What MMO? Oh, you're being sarcastic. Well, the rant stands because some, you know, there will be someone. That's one of those things you go to Reddit and there's always someone who's saying something like that, you know. Literally ranting at a cloud there. That was me. Brilliant. Yeah, no, I would say guild missions, definitely. Top of my list. Well, new playable races and reasons for leveling is actually at the top of my list. Making new characters, making more content evergreen. But the guild mission proposal, in theory, can do that. Right? Beat a raid with your guild, beat a meta event with your guild, shit like that. There are opportunities to make things evergreen. Okay. An underwater expansion is kind of another thing. Yeah, but new playable races and leveling is, I think, even stronger than the guild thing, but yeah. The other thing is you want to get communities in there and stuck and staying in there and playing. Honestly, I cannot tell you, it really fucking bums me out knowing that we're not doing guild missions anymore. And, you know, it's partly my fault, I think, to an extent, because people would want to, you know, I probably should have come to more of them than I did. And relying on the kindness of strangers to keep running them for so long. You know, I can't blame anyone for stopping eventually. I'd love a reason to go back to them, I really would. Alright. Kerry says, I think New World had the best. You just straight up walked underwater. Yeah, a lot of old MMOs did that. I used to play Perfect World and you just walked underwater. Can't have bad underwater combat if you don't have it. You know, 14 also has underwater as well, obviously, but there is no combat. I think the exploration's quite cool there, though. I like the transitions. When you get to that in Stormblood, it's so good. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll be doing a Let's Play on that soon enough. Keep an eye on my other streams. Once Janthir Wilds is over, the content will keep coming. You just have to click and be happy, willing to watch some non-Guild Wars 2 stuff. Ooh. Alright, here's a brilliant thing here. Ready, guys? Is there a world where Isgarin can be described as lonely? It's a bit of a shallow characterization, but it has a basis in losing Vast, feeling like he needs to be grandiose and impressive in public, self-proclaimed vanguard of the Republic. I didn't like that line, actually, from this patch. And then having strong reactions to the Waiting Sorrow, to the vanishing of Waiting Sorrow shortly after the deaths of Akeem and Vast. As much as he may have thought that the ward needed to remain isolated, he still agreed to the contrary in the end, and maybe he's just happy to finally be able to interact with others again. Again, it's a bit shallow or even childish characterization. I like the idea of him being lonely, in principle. I like the idea that he's got some, you know, there was some tortured romance in his past. I like the idea, not just like in terms of, like a romantic relationship with someone that he was close with, but just his entire race is dead. He's the last survivor of the Seers. They're all fucking dead for thousands of years. Well, no, not thousands of years, right? The last couple were dying off 250 years ago. But he's seen so much death and loss that's going to change a person. It's going to make you blasé about more death and loss. You know, I think he's a fascinating character. He's a really cool character. And that's why I feel so grim about the idea that they're just going to cartoonishly make him a bungler or whatever. Like, that would upset me. I'd like to think Guild Wars is equipped to deal with talking in a fun way about these, you know, immortals, you know, that have lived for thousands of years. He's very cool. And loneliness could definitely come into that, you know. He was really bonding with Vast for a while. There are some great hints in Secrets of the Obscure about all of this. And Janthir Wilds hasn't followed up on the Vast stuff, but they might eventually. You know, the Forgotten as well, guys. You got to remember, the Forgotten are like mist travelers too. Who was guarding Abaddon's prison in the Realm of Torment? Forgotten. Who was all around here with the human gods? The Forgotten. You know, the gods themselves being planeswalkers. They can be forgotten all over the place. And you know, Vast has that connection and stuff, so we shall see. And, oh no, that was it. That was the last one. Sorry, I was going to say, and finally, but that was the and finally. There you go. So, a selection of comments, thoughts, topics, review of the patch. I don't want to labour the point too much here, guys, or go too long on about it, because at the end of the day, this is all one long Let's Play that I'm doing. It's in one playlist on my channel. You can find a link in the description. And for people who are watching this in playlist form, they're just going to immediately now jump into the next release. For us, it's 3 months away if you're watching this live. But, you know, it's going to be a bit stilted and shit if every 3 episodes there's some massive review and outro. Which there might be. I mean, look, next patch is a big one, obviously. It's got a whole map with it. And the last one's a big one as well. So far, I'm feeling very good about Janthir Wilds. Secrets of the Obscure, I was a bit iffy about, and then the nice patches came in and I wasn't feeling good about at all. This expansion, I feel like the base release was pretty good, and I feel like this release was pretty good. So far, not feeling bad at all. They're 2 out of 4, doing well. So all they got to do is just not drop the ball, as far as I'm concerned, on these next 2 patches. And in 6 months, you know, we're already looking at press for that next mini-X pack. Potentially very different subject material, and yeah, maybe that guild thing would be quite cool. You're on episode 8 right now. Oh, that's very cool. It's cool that people are watching back through. I actually had a comment today on FF12. Someone dropped a... Usually I can tell if someone's watching because they'll drop comments. But this guy just dropped one comment on the very last episode, and he said, oh shit, I was watching this, and now I've realised it's not finished. And I was like, sorry, oh dear, whoopsie. Yeah, Wouldn't it be Menzies, or did they do something with him in Guild Wars 2? No, Menzies is potentially out there. Menzies or Mengus. They could do some fun stuff with Mengus. In fact, it might be him that relit... There's every possibility that he is responsible for these Titans right now. There's every possibility. I don't really know how it fits into all the rest of the story. So I'm feeling like it's not going to happen, really. But there's every chance. People on VOD can skip, just saying, yeah, I guess that's true as well. Speaking of skipping and speaking of VODs and stuff, guys, join me next time, the day after tomorrow, for the end of the Final Fantasy XIV stuff, where we will be playing 1.0. If you don't know what that means, that's the very beginning of that MMO. The very beginning. Guild Wars 2 came out in 2012. In the day after tomorrow, I'm going to be playing some 2011 stuff. It's an MMO that's actually been removed and cancelled now. It's going to be a weird stream where, well, you'll see how I'm doing it. There's lots of weird things there. So I'll be doing 1.0. That's my plan for this week. Then we will do the Coil Raid series, and the Final Fantasy project is finished. I have to say, I had plans for the end of this year. Lots of plans of different things I wanted to do. I think I'm going to throw a couple of them out. And almost on a whim, I'm thinking it's very, very, very likely I'll do this. I think I'm going to do a Path of Exile series. I really want to play PoE 2. So listen, when 1.0 is done, and it's not going to be long, it's like 3, 4, maybe 5 episodes, something like that. I might immediately kick up a PoE 2 series. It will be a live series just like this here on YouTube. So if you're interested in that stuff, guys, check it out on my channel. If you're watching this playlist in the future, you might want to see. I really think I'm going to probably do PoE 2. If people watch, hopefully it'll be fun. I'd love to make a character on there and just see how it goes. I'm feeling very excited about that somehow. So those are the next 2 immediate live projects. And I'm still desperately trying to struggle this with the move. And another Let's Play I'm trying to make. So yeah, it's a bit ridiculous. If you are curious about Path of Exile, 10 years ago, I did a video on it. It's a video with me and Matt. It was on one of my old series when I was trying to branch out from Guild Wars 2, called The Daily Deal. And it was on deal on Steam, so I introduced it to people. So I have a video, it's about 10 years old, from Path of Exile 1. You can go watch that if you like. I linked it in the Spud Discord the other day. But yeah, I think it could be fun. It would be just like this, just me playing a game. I'll be blind, obviously. And we'll see what kind of weird character we make. I want to make a blood mage, maybe. I think you have to be like their elementalist first, and then when you specialize later, you become one. I don't know. But it looks crazy. So yeah, that's my plans for the next few days. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoy. Thank you for that, John. That's really nice of you. With the 5 memberships. Oh my god, thank you. Doing it at launch would probably help the channel sub, new game, new people interested. Yeah, if there's any discoverability on YouTube live streams. At the end of the day, I'm going to do the 1.0 stuff. I'm not compromising on that. So we'll see whether we have time to do it all. Hopefully we will. It might just mean instead of doing streams every other day, I'll have to do them daily again coming up. But yeah, we'll see. So that's it, guys. That's the end of my Godspawn coverage. Thank you very much for watching. Short little episode here today. That is the cover. So yeah, this is the Convergence. Big bit of the patch. We did the story. That's the start of the Legendary collection. Finally, there is the raid. Keep an eye on my channel, because I do have a bunch of footage of the raid. I had a lot of fun playing with you guys, the Spuds. I'm going to do a playthrough, first impressions kind of commentary video. Keep an eye out for that as well. That won't be a stream or something, just a regular-ass video in the next couple of days. I might even integrate it into this playlist as well. Who knows? So thank you, everybody. Are we getting lore on PoE? I didn't really like the PoE lore. I mean, I'll pay attention to it. I'll focus on it. The intro cutscene was really badass. It's like this ghost attacks some people, and then like this king like fucks the ghost up and like imprisons it, and he says, even though I can't properly destroy you, I'll have you watch this world be destroyed or something. It was really cool. The cutscene for PoE 2 looks absolutely insane. I have played PoE 1 about 4 or 5 times, and I always get really bored by the game. And never really get into the end game. But I think it's because I don't really read guides about it, and because I never get the items I need. But PoE 2 doesn't have that. At PoE 2, they say that you get all the items you need as you're playing through, and it just looks much better in basically every way. So I get the itch for that game, and I've played it a few times, and the sequel looks awesome, so yeah. It looks cool. You guys can teach me all about it, probably, any of you guys that come along for that. But I really think that'll be one of the next projects, and it's really sort of just randomly come up. I had so many other plans of other things I wanted to do, but fuck it, you know, you gotta do what you're excited to do sometimes. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Long ass outro that is. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Let me know what you think. Continue to let me know what you think about Janthir Worlds, by the way, down below. I'll still be reading and responding to the reviews and stuff. And I'll see you at the very least, I guess, in 3 months. Take care, guys. See you next time.